we come to cold, snowy western New York. An important game, the Pittsburgh Steelers on a roll, the Buffalo Bills in a game they need to very badly. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Crickey with John Brody. It is cold, it's snowy, and the wind has started up here in western New York. John, they say the only people that can survive a Buffalo winter are native Buffalonians and other fur-bearing animals. I can say that.
I'm not one.
But Bradshaw's been just great.
I think Bradshaw is the best bad-weather quarterback in the history of this game. He's got all he wished for today. He's brought his club all the way to a 4-1 record. To me, it looks like they're playing up to his capabilities, and when they're playing up to his,
Yeah, the style and the abilities of Joe Ferguson, but he's not done well since the strike. He's due for a big game.
No, he hasn't, and when he plays against Terry Bradshaw, you know, they're old high school pals. He followed Terry in high school. He Kennedy King, and I think that's the history of his play whenever he's done poorly. I think if he would just let Buffalo win a game in which he didn't play too well, didn't take the lead role, I think he'd then become a great quarterback, and I think that's what he has to become for Buffalo to get in the finals.
Well, it's going to be an interesting day. Two good teams, and the weather's a big factor. It continues to snow as the Bills are ready to kick it off. They'll have the wind blowing into them. They've elected to go with the wind in the second quarter. There's Chuck Noll. You can see that Coach Noll's in the middle of a Buffalo winner. And his counterpart, Chuck Knox, another big winner in his years as a head coach in the NFL. Fred Bohannon is the deep man in the middle. Walter Abercrombie is on one side of him as the kick comes downfield. And it's fielded by Abercrombie, the rookie from Baylor. And Abercrombie gets out to the 30-yard line to about the 31. Abercrombie, of course, injured in the preseason. Back in good form now with the strike layoff and that injured knee ready to roll. And it's a 15-yard return. Tackled by rookie Eugene Marr. Terry Bradshaw, the #1 quarterback in the NFL, leading the Steeler offense with Frank Pollard and Franco Harris as runners. Wide receivers, the great ones, Stallworth and Swan on the flanks, Benny Cunningham at tight end. The offensive line that some say is the best part of the Steeler team, in addition to Bradshaw, Kinney, Wolfley, Webster, Corson, and Brown. First and 10, Pittsburgh, just across their 30. They go to the run, and they get some good yards, and then a penalty marker comes in. They give up the middle to Franco, John. It results in a 5-yard gain, but then the marker.
Well, I think you're going to see an awful lot of running because to do anything else would be a little foolish, and a penalty of that sort is going to cost the team dearly. I think field position is going to be the game, and by the time the second quarter comes around, I don't think either team will care whether they're with the wind or against it, because they won't be able to see the yard stripes if the snow stays as it is, and the direction they're going will have very little significance.
And really, now the wind is swirling, so.
Holding, number 52, up it.
Got Mike Webster, the center. Pat Haggerty's the referee giving us the call, and now after a setback of 10 yards, it's 1st and 20 for Pittsburgh.
That offensive line still got their short sleeve jerseys.
They might think that over at halftime. Bradshaw swings it out.
Oh.
Ball was stuck between the two guys. It goes an incomplete pass. He was looking at Franco Harris. Players didn't know it was there.
Well, they both must have felt it. I'll tell you, I've never seen a ball stick between two players so long that didn't know it was there.
There's the front three for Buffalo. Ben Williams, Fred Smerlas, and Sherman White. Linebackers, some new people due to injuries. Irvin Parker, Eugene Marr, Chris Keating, and for injured Jim Haslett, and Isaiah Robertson. The corners, Mario Clark and Charles Romes. Two good safeties, and Steve Freeman and Bill Simpson. 2nd and 20 for the Steelers. Franco, not much. Buffalo closes it down, and so it'll be 3rd and long yardage for the Steelers. Big crowd, despite the bad weather. A lot of them up from Pittsburgh, as the Steelers are on a hot seat. A special heated bench. The Bills right now are 2nd in the NFL in least yards allowed. They have the 2nd best defense in the American Conference. They allow only 248 yards a game.
Well, they ought to be able to beat that today. If they play in 3 or 4 of these, they ought to beat the world.
They have not be a lot of yards and probably not a point. A lot of points in a game like this, but you never know. Turnovers invariably become a factor as the weather worsens, and it will. Bradshaw on 3rd and 18 stands in. He's got a man downfield, intercepted by Simpson, and a lot of blockers in front of him. Bill Simpson takes it back for Buffalo. Goes out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 35-yard line.
All right, Terry Bradshaw, I mentioned, is one of the the best or the best bad weather quarterback I've ever seen. He very seldom gets beat by the elements. I think he bit off a little more than he could chew that time. There's about a 30-mile-an-hour wind going into his face. It was 3rd down and 16. The snow's in his face. No mobility out there on the turf 20 yards down the field. He was playing 1 out of 6 there. He had 1 guy down the field and 6 people ready to pick it off.
John, you made an interesting point at the outset. You said that Joe Ferguson and the Bills have to win on days when Joe Ferguson doesn't play well.
Well, because I think they're good enough to do that right now, and he's got to relinquish his role as the guy that has to get it done to a Joe Cribbs or maybe the receivers or the defense on a given day, and I think then his role won't become so important.
Here's Joe Cribbs on a pitchback, 1st down carry, and Cribbs gets inside the 35-yard line and down close to the 33. The Bills offense with Joe Ferguson at quarterback, as Bradshaw's #1 in the NFL. Ferguson is last in the AFC right now in passing. Cribbs and Roosevelt Leaks as runners. Jerry Butler, Frank Lewis, and tight end Mark Bramer, the receivers. Good offensive line like the Steelers. Ken Jones, Reggie McKenzie, Will Grant, John Borchardt, and Joe Devlin. They've given up only 6 sacks so far this year. And the Steeler defense is #1 in the NFL with 23 sacks. So there's an interesting confrontation there. At 2nd and 5, they go back to Joe Cribbs, and he runs it down to about the 32, well short of a 1st down.
There's a new boy out there, Donnie, a fella that I don't know if it's ever happened before, where they had 2 #1 draft choices from the same college playing on the same team at wide receiver before, but Perry Tuttle's playing out there today. Anybody that saw the Orange Bowl last year knows what he can do given a chance.
Tuttle the #1, and the other, of course, Jerry Butler. There's Tuttle. He's not had a lot of playing time, but I think he's ready to explode. And of course, the Bills have the veteran Frank Lewis. He's had some problems with the knee and is expected to play. But right now, they've got the speed out in the left flank in Tuttle and more speed on the right flank in Butler. 3rd and 3. Ferguson dropping back in the shotgun set. He plays well in the wind, or has over the years, but not on that play as he was looking. Lou Picone coming out of a slot. Robert Holt also running a pattern in that area. And so 4th and 3 comes up for Buffalo.
Well, Joe is by reputation and history one who gets rid of the ball very swiftly, does not get caught very often. That time, had he waited just a 1/10 of a second longer, he had 2 men in an area where only 1 was covering. They blew a coverage. Sometimes if you wait a little longer, it's better.
Now we'll see what Efren Herrera can do, John. He has hit on 110 of 161 career field goals. His 68% average is the best in NFL history, but he was cut by Seattle. Bills got him as a free agent.
Well, there's a wind going with him. That's the only chance I give him right here.
It'll be a 49-yarder. It's on the way. Wide to the left. It is no good, and the Steelers will take over the ball after the Bradshaw interception does not result in Buffalo points. So with 12:20 to play in the 1st quarter, we'll come back to Buffalo after this. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like their outstanding value. By Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you. And by ColecoVision, the arcade-quality home video game system. With John Brody, this is Don Criqui, Orchard Park, New York, home of the Buffalo Bills. Rich Stadium, no score, 1st quarter. Steelers with their 2nd possession. And right now they go 1st and 10 as they give to Frank Pollard, and on a slant. Pollard gets out close to the 35-yard line. Gets some good run. Tough yards coming against this strong Buffalo defensive team. Here's the rookie, John, Eugene Marv.
Eugene Marv is playing a little before they anticipated he would have to. He's a big kid, about 6'3". He weighs 240 pounds. He's from Saginaw Valley State. Now, I don't know where they find you in Saginaw Valley State, but I guess it's up in Michigan. Anyway, he's been playing excellently. Hazlitt's on the mend.
Jim Haslett getting over minor knee surgery. Should be back before the end of the season, but he's out today. And Frank Lewis won't play today, we're told now. The knee acted up in the workout. Now in 2nd and 5, the Bills shut down the run. Franco got the call for the Steelers, but didn't get much. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Snow's pretty well stopped for the moment, huh?
You got no guarantees on that, though.
Well, you live here.
I did.
I can see. Nice place to be in and out of.
It can get rough, but of course the Steelers and Bradshaw, as you said, you think he's the best bad weather quarterback you've ever seen. And Ferguson historically has played well in the wind and the cold here late in the season, so we'll see. 3rd and 4. Bradshaw has a problem, and they're going to sack him. Fred Smerlas, the middle guard, comes in and gets Terry Bradshaw way back inside the 30-yard line, so it'll be a punting down for the Steelers.
I can see how icy it is on the receiver's footing. Bradshaw was back in pretty good shape. You notice you go back a little different. Nice and slow. You kind of cradle to a stop. Now he's waiting for someone to fall down. You'll find that in certain situations, your receivers will come dead free because the defender will fall. That time, the man trying to handle Smerlas had the problem.
Now, there's Freddie. He liked all that. John Goodson in to punt for Pittsburgh. Sprinter is in there to receive it. Mike Mosley has a problem. And the Steeler coverage is excellent. Mosley is out of bounds at the 30. 44-yard punt and a return of only a yard. Anthony Washington was the first man down for Pittsburgh. So now Buffalo sends the offensive unit out for its second possession. Here's the sack a moment ago. Smerlas grabs on, and down goes Terry, and we'll be back to Orchard Park after this.
Holiday greetings from
To Buffalo, where the heated benches aren't very well occupied now. The players on the sideline as the Bills come out 1st and 10. No score in the first quarter. Bills at their 31-yard line. Roosevelt leaks is the lone setback. Ferguson throws in the wind and hits Jerry Butler, and he's across the 40 and drives out to the 45-yard line. A gain of 14 yards and a first down.
That is the safest and I think the best pass to throw in weather conditions such as this. And the reason I say that, Don, is it takes very little coordination. Oh, you're going to get enough pass protection. You can step back with 3 steps. You don't have any problem that way. If you can just get a good grip on the ball, the cornerback cannot play you very aggressively. The linebacker can't get footing enough to get out there and get in the way of it. And you can go up and down the field that way.
Let's see what they go to now. 1st and 10. Ferguson throwing on first down, and this time he goes to the run, and Roosevelt Leaks, who's been Buffalo's best rusher, goes ahead for close to 5 yards. He's averaging 4.5 a carry. Gary Dunn, the nose tackle for the Steelers, knocked him down along with Jack Ham.
What a resurrection project he was for Chuck Knox. He took him from Baltimore when he looked like he'd outlived his ability, and now he's playing first string. He was sitting down in special situations for a couple years. He let his knees heal, and he's playing the way he did when he came out of Texas.
Knows the guys trying to stop him. Steeler defensive unit playing very well. The gain now, they spot the ball down just across the 45, so it's going to be 2nd down and a long 6, almost 7. Back to the run, and up the middle goes Joe Tripp. He slides ahead and is going to have a first down for Buffalo.
Had to be a good block underneath, Don. When you make a hole that big with the conditions the way they are, there has to be a good block in the hole. You can see, let's see, Dunn 67. Lambert had a very good block placed on him. Ken Jones, number 72, the left tackle, placed it. One good block at the point of attack, and you can pick up a first.
They got 9. Scores coming in. The Jets have moved in front of Tampa Bay 7-0.
How good are they getting?
They're getting real good. And looking forward to playing Miami next Saturday, a game you'll see here on NBC. Another run on first down. Look at little Joe Cribbs taking ahead down to the 40-yard line of Pittsburgh, coming on those slants.
I'll tell you, those slants are terrific as long as Reggie McKenzie and Ken Jones are getting them in. That time it was Reggie's turn, made a great block. And those defensive linemen in that 3-man line of Pittsburgh's are pretty tough to move out of there because the linebackers fill the holes so quickly.
Steelers, of course, going to the 3-4 this season. 4-3 for so many years. Using a lot more defensive players. 16 or 17 defenders working regularly for the Steelers. Down and distance dictating that situation. And now Joe Cribbs is the lone setback. Gets the pitch back on 2nd and 4. He's not going to get a thing. Might lose a yard. Donnie Shell, the strong safety, coming up for Pittsburgh to make the tackle.
Well, Butler was going to come around for a fake reverse, which would have taken some of the flow with him. He slipped at the start of the play, so it looked like just a big meeting out there about 3 yards behind the line.
So now 3rd down arises for the Bills, and the ball is at the Pittsburgh Steelers 42-yard line. Last time the Steelers were in Buffalo was in 1980. Buffalo dominated, winning that game 28-13. It was the first year after all those seasons that the Steelers didn't make the playoffs. 3rd and 6 for Buffalo as they go to the shotgun, and Cribbs goes in motion. Here's a blitz. Ferguson gets it away. It's caught. Going to be a first down. Robert Holt, Radar Holt, comes down with the ball, lost his footing, and got a hit inside the Steeler 35-yard line.
Okay, where we saw the last time Joe paid the price for throwing the ball a little too early, that time, that's the advantage. They can blitz as many people as they like. They're not going to get to you in time if you're as quick releasing as Joe Ferguson is. He found a receiver all by himself who almost didn't get the first because he slipped when he caught it.
Robert Holt, one of a whole series of very fleet receivers. Actually, in his first year, he was drafted last year, sat out the season with an injury. And now, Kerry Tuttle goes wide to the right, and Jerry Butler wide left. Steelers dig in on defense. Bills have it first and 10, Pittsburgh 32. Ferguson, pump faking, lets her fly, and Kerry Tuttle makes the reception down to the 21-yard line.
Beautiful play.
Boy, it was.
Beautiful play. That's the Joe Ferguson that I'm accustomed to seeing. Now, we've noticed, and Joe Gordon, the director of publicity, has mentioned to us so many times, he said Bradshaw is so good when he starts good, but when he doesn't, sometimes it takes him a while to get going good. Well, Ferguson and group know that, and we mentioned this is a personal battle to a degree, and Joe would love to have a good day to get out of a slump, get his team on the way, and that's the way to do it.
Joe Ferguson and Terry Bradshaw, both out of Shreveport, Louisiana, both out of Woodlawn High School. And now it's first and 10 for Buffalo in a scoreless first quarter. Nothing there. Steelers jam it up. Joe Cribbs runs, and the Steeler defensive front, Lauren Taves, one of the linebackers, was through on the play. And also on the stop was 65, Tom Beasley.
That's what was there.
And there was no gain. In fact, when they spot the ball, we have a loss of a yard. Freeman McNeil has just run for his second touchdown, and the Jets are now leading Tampa Bay 14-0. I don't think Tampa Bay might like the snow in New York. They're going to get 12 inches, somebody is saying. Buffalo has allowed the fewest quarterback sacks in the NFL the past 2 seasons. 2nd and 11, so Ferguson will be throwing. Here's the blitz. They pick it up. He unloads. It's going to be overthrown.
Well done. I know sometimes you never say well done to a quarterback who throws the ball as far away from his receiver as he did, but trying to make a good play out of that situation would have been a major mistake. And he hasn't made any of those today. They say they've had 12 turnovers in 2 ball games that they lost. Since the strike was over, Joe credits himself with having been the reason they lost. I don't happen to think necessarily it's him. I think their group is good enough to win anyway, but you know he's going to try to keep away from it.
12 turnovers in the 2 losses. The only game they didn't turn the ball over. They beat Baltimore 20-0, but as one writer here in Buffalo, Larry Felser, wrote, Baltimore is the Randy Cobb of the National Football League this year.
Yeah, but they...
Right now, going to have a timeout on the field in 3rd and 11. So, with the break in the action, Joe Ferguson comes over for some counsel from Coach Chuck Knox, and we'll be back to Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Green Bay today, with Lions and an Eddie Murray field goal, have gone in front of the Packers 3-0. Here in Orchard Park, New York, the Steelers and the Bills are scoreless. Right now, Buffalo's coming out with a 3rd and 11. And the ball is spotted at the 23-yard line, 22-yard line of Pittsburgh. Snow is stopped, but the clouds are ominous. Lights are on. Ferguson stands in. Goes down at the 30-yard line. So that'll set up a 47-yard field goal attempt for Herrera.
That's right. Now, Joe would not like to have been caught. Anybody knows that. And in order to get a pass rush, your defensive linemen cannot really get it. Their footing isn't excellent. They tried a few games, but now they run in with a linebacker. Looked like Robin Cole to me.
That was the guy.
235-pound outside linebacker gets a pretty good pass rush. Ferguson waiting a little longer, trying to get his receivers down the field a bit more. The guy got around McKenzie and into Ferguson's face.
Steelers #1 in the NFL with 24 quarterback sacks now, and here is the long field goal attempt. It'll actually be 38 yards. Herrera hits it. He's got enough distance. It looks like it. He's short. It came down short of the crossbar. So Efren Herrera, in all his accuracy, comes up empty on 2 field goal tries, and it remains a scoreless game. Buffalo dominating on offense, getting a lot of yards, but no points, and the Steelers will take over the ball when we come back. There's the kick. It was straight, but it wasn't long enough.
tricky.
Thank you, Mike. Big crowd in Buffalo despite the inclement weather. Temperature around 23 degrees at kickoff time. Swirling wind. We had a lot of snow. It has stopped now. And the Steelers go on offense 1st and 10, and they don't get much as they go to the run. They go to Franco. As good a bad weather and bad field runners there's ever been, but the Bills are there to get in the two ends. Ben Williams and Sherman White were there.
There are going to be a whole bunch of people on that ball carrier today. If you don't get that hole at your initial point of attack, you will get a lot of pursuit.
Franco, a very durable back over the years, missed only 6 games in his career out of 171.
They talk about health being luck, yet all the great backs seem to stay healthy. I don't know why it is, but they do.
Durability is as much an asset as just plain sheer physical talent. Harris has them both. And right now, Bradshaw against the blitz, throws, and almost caught by Benny Cunningham. Here's a penalty marker. Coming in after the play. It's in the Buffalo backfield now. The Bills are pointing it to Pittsburgh. There might be 2 markers down, one at the line of scrimmage and one in the Buffalo secondary.
A lot of pointing. I think Steve Freeman
signals against the Steelers.
We see Fred Smerlas, second one to get back there. Marv got there first. That rookie out of Saginaw State, he's amazed everyone.
Yeah, he has.
Forces Bradshaw to throw it quick.
Shane Nelson, a very fine Buffalo linebacker, went down with a knee injury, a 2nd consecutive year, and Marv, who was drafted high, was called on to start, and he's done very well, particularly against the run.
Offensive pass interference, number 89.
They got Benny Cunningham.
You know, that's what I was curious about. I saw the flag being thrown from the back judge, and I didn't see the actual happening, but Freeman actually knocked him off step. You better not try him again.
John, as a quarterback, were you very conscious of who the officials were?
Only if they stood out. I mean, you knew once in a while that certain guys were going to be more protective than others, and that's just the way the game works. But
now Bradshaw stands, and Sherman White comes crashing through and knocks him down at the 10-yard line. The Buffalo Bills, a fired-up football team in a game they feel they absolutely have to win. Should they lose to the Steelers, they'd be 3-3, and they have to go on the road for their final 3.
It looks to me like the footing is much better for the Bills than it has been for the Steelers. I don't know what the reason. We see the secondary. Nobody's open. Bradshaw's trying to wait to get down the field. By the time he does, he's got somebody sitting in his face. That man's Sherman White. Ex-University of California player, been a defensive end for the Bills for quite a while. It looks like the Bills' footing is better, and that's rare because against Pittsburgh, their balance in their offensive line has been their key ingredient over the years, and it looks like they're losing a little of that right now.
Chuck Knox looks on as Bradshaw has a 3rd and forever play going. He goes to a draw, and Franco looking for some help and some room, and he turns the corner, and Harris is finally knocked out of bounds, and it's way short of a 1st down, so Pittsburgh will have to punt the ball. Bill Simpson came over and pushed him out.
He made a little bit out of nothing. We mentioned their footing isn't too good. Franco on a draw play, trying to find a little hole somewhere, get somebody going the wrong way on a delay. He sees Corson can't get his footing perfectly. The pursuit is there, and let's take a look. That looks like Lynn Swan coming back to help out. Makes a great block on Mario Clark to give him about 6 yards, but it's still punting situation.
Roland Hooks is now back deep for Buffalo as the punt returner, and John Goodson ready to hit the ball. He's done a big job for the Steelers. He's blocked. The punt is blocked. And the Bills have it at the 29-yard line of Pittsburgh. Jim Richer looked like the guy who got through and blocked the punt. A former Outland Trophy winner from North Carolina State, a #1 draft choice who's been unable to crack a starting job in the Buffalo offensive line.
It was a beautiful play by Richer to get any piece of the punt. Pittsburgh has very few blocked, as you mentioned, Donnie, but the play that was heads up was on Simpson's part. He didn't come in blindly and try to recover the bouncing ball. Take a look at the nice bare foot. Richards gets his hand on it. Now 45, free safety. Bill Simpson sees the ball bouncing around, just falls on it. Doesn't try to get cute, doesn't try to get smart. They've got a turnover.
Goodson might think about putting a shoe on that kicking foot. Joe Cribbs working hard, and the Steelers don't give him a thing. Donnie Shell, the strong safety, comes up and hits him. The Steelers will be in excellent position, possibly to have the home field throughout the playoffs if they can win here today. They'll go back to Pittsburgh next week to play Cleveland. Then they play New England. And then they play the Cleveland Browns once again. I guess they go to Cleveland and they come home to play New England and Cleveland, but they will be going against 3 teams with definite losing records, and 2 of the games will be at home. This is a big one on the Steelers schedule. They're thinking about home field, not just the playoffs. 2nd and 11 now for Buffalo. 31-yard line. Ferguson has time. He's got Tuttle. He's not done yet. Barry Tuttle heading for the end zone. He's inside the 5. He's down to the 4. Big play, and the rookie Tuttle's on the receiving end.
Don, the word was back here that Tuttle really hadn't, and it was just, you take a first reaction. Here's his 27-yard reception, puts him 1st and 10 on the 5, 1st and goal on the 5-yard line. That's the Perry Tuttle I remember.
That is the Perry Tuttle that was regarded coming out of the draft as the best wide receiver in the country. The Bills made a last-minute change so they could draft him, last-minute trade to move up in the 1st round. 1st and goal. They'll run the ball here, and Roosevelt Leaks might be the guy. Leaks gets the ball, and a penalty marker comes in as Leaks goes down to the 1-yard line.
Came in right at the right guard.
Holding against Buffalo, looks like, John.
That I don't know, but I know there were 2 guys that threw a flag awfully quick.
The Bills come out of this without points. It might take a lot of steam out of this team. They've dominated play.
If you go 3 drives.
Offside. Defense. Replay the down.
Replay the down. Joe Ferguson jumped up in the air when he saw the first flag and slapped his hands like he thought it was a big one.
That's why I was a little reluctant to say what it was, because you saw one coming from the official back of the quarterback, which he can see one thing. The other was on the side judge, so you knew there had to be 2 different penalties. I just didn't know what either one of them were.
Well, they're going to do it over now from the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. The Bills were down like this against Miami in a game they lost 9-7. I'm sure they won't call that play again. And halfback option pass with Joe Cribbs through right to A.J. Dewey of the Dolphins. And it was the football game. Miami won 9-7. Dolphins winning on 3 field goals.
It was the end of that play that bothered me.
Yeah. A lot. Here's Joe Cribbs. Good play by the Steelers. Jack Lambert. He's been making them all season, all career. Leading tackler for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jack Lambert, his 8 previous seasons.
Jeez, that's a great play. That's a play only a great middle linebacker can make. He's the only man in a position to make it. Joe Cribbs is going to get around a middle linebacker in pursuit 3 or 4 out of 5 times. That's just why he is Jack Lambert.
One of the all-time greats. And now it is going to be 2nd down and goal for Buffalo, right at the 5-yard line. Raymer, the tight end, goes out about 3 yards left. 2 tight ends are in the game. Ferguson, quick drop, throws to timing pattern, and it's overthrown for Raymer, and it'll be 3rd down and goal. Good coverage by the Steelers. Donnie Shell was right on the tight end, the strong safety.
Donnie's looking for a call. Another good play by Ferguson. He didn't stand around trying to make a great play out of a bad situation. That's I think he's probably getting a bit more disciplined now that he's been back in camp for 2 or 3 more weeks. And I asked, Bud Tallman said, you know, Joe is one of those fellas that comes along, he starts, he has a plan, he gets better the 2nd week, the 3rd week, the 4th week, and he said the strike really hurt him. It wouldn't hurt some players as much as it hurt Joe. And it looks like he's coming back.
Right now he's got a big down. He's going to the shotgun. The Steeler defense with not that much room to defend might be coming with a blitz. Ferguson looks. There's the throw. It's intercepted by Pittsburgh and almost run back the distance. And that tackle not been made by Jerry Butler. There was a clear track ahead for Dwayne Woodruff. Big play by the Steeler defense, and the Bills are shut out of scoring again. With 52 seconds to play in the 1st quarter, Buffalo has 3 sustained drives and 3 times they come up empty. For the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, intercepting Joe Ferguson of Buffalo on the 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line. Now the Steelers go on offense. 1st and 10 from the Buffalo from their own 7-yard line. No score in the 1st quarter. 52 seconds to play. And that's it. More markers. Bradshaw was intercepted in the Steelers' first series of downs, you remember. Now Joe Ferguson gives one up. And And no points are yet on the board. Although Buffalo has had 16 offensive plays on the Pittsburgh side of the field. Bills were offside.
I thought that was rather friendly of Smerlis to when he did jump, he barely touched Webster. I've seen quite the contrary.
Encroachment. Defense.
You've had Haggerty, and off we go. 1st and 5 now for Pittsburgh. Washington leads St. Louis 3-0. Mark Mosley hit a 32-yard field goal for the Redskins.
He did it again.
More markers. You don't have to run a snap.
Isaiah Robinson's making a claim. He says the left tackle did the jumping. That's Ray Penny. But the officials didn't see it that way. That's a good way to get a drive going.
It's a good way to get a Buffalo defense madder than they've been, and they've been eating up the Steelers so far.
Well, I don't care how mad they are. Sometimes when they're mad, that's when you can beat them the easiest. That's when a guy's ready to make a mistake he otherwise wouldn't make. It's how good they are that bothered me.
And they're pretty good. Right now, the Steelers get out of trouble, at least for the moment. They are 1st and 10 at their 17-yard line. Bradshaw against the blitz, gets it away. Frank Lewis on the sideline looking up. Waved his hand down at Starworth. He's an old friend of John Starworth, and Starworth almost made a great reception as he went high and then was stuck hard by Charles Rome.
This is the hardest pass in the world to catch when it's bright and you're out in a sun belt. But when it's cold, the conditions are really tough. To make a move to the inside, first of all, takes pretty good footing. Then when the ball's thrown to the inside, you know you're going to get your case labeled. And to hang on to the ball, I think that's beyond the call.
Well, he almost did, but the hard hit by Romes, and now Bradshaw is 0 for 3 throwing the ball with 1 interception. 2nd and 10, Pittsburgh. No score. Bradshaw looks, he throws in the flat and comes in on the 1 hop to John Stallworth. So it'll be 3rd and 10 with 42 seconds to play in the first quarter. Steelers have not had a drive of any distance in the game so far. They've been virtually without offense.
Well, I'm interested in Joe Gordon's comment. You know, as great as Terry Bradshaw has been over the years, Joe mentioning that, you know, he is great, but when he doesn't get started well, until he does, you can't be sure he's going to play well. And I said, well, you know, this would be the only test I've ever seen him really put to, because the weather is absolutely abhorrent, and the wind is in his face so far.
It's a swirling wind. Here's another blitz against Bradshaw. He gets the ball away, and Jim Smith makes a diving reception, but he's way short of a first down. Lamar Parrish was covering. And so now, as we watch that again, the Steelers will once again punt the ball, if they can. Goodson couldn't the last time.
Bradshaw on a blitz. Well-called defense at the proper time. He didn't allow the wide receivers to get into their pattern. As a result, they have to punt.
They're alternating return men, John, for Buffalo. Now Mike Mosley's back in. Very, very fast, Mike Mosley. 2nd-round draft choice a year ago out of Texas A&M. He was out the season with a hamstring tear.
Don, if I were Mosley, I think I'd get a little closer to the line of scrimmage. He's giving him a lot of credit.
Kick it into a wind. Well, now he'll be kicking with the wind. It is a swirling one, though, and you're not quite sure how it's going to help you or hurt you. We'll be back after this. John Goodson, whose last punt was blocked, gets one away this time, not too deep. Mosley will have to field it on the hop if he can. He does. And down he goes at about the 33-yard line. Stay tuned to NBC Sports for the second half of our NFL doubleheader as rookie sensation Marcus Allen and the L.A. Raiders take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Some of you will see the Denver Broncos go against the Los Angeles Rams. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's coming up next on NBC Sports, a doubleheader day. 45-yard punt by Goodson, no return. Rick Moser was down to cover, and the Bills offense comes out again.
You know the big problem in a situation like that, I mentioned that Mosley was giving him a little bit too much room. He gave him about 47 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then caught the ball on the bounce, and that ball was, you know, it was about a 36-yard punt. He could have caught it on the fly, and then what happened is on catching it on the bounce, he's got guys at different angles making blocks. So in my opinion, because he's standing back there and not in the game up where he can catch the ball on the fly, it cost him 25 yards. Field position is very important today.
It sure is. Field position is of paramount importance, and when the Bills have had it, they've been unable to put up points. They've had 3 scoring opportunities, 2 missed field goals, and then the intercepted pass on 3rd and goal from the 6. As you look at the American Conference breakdown, Buffalo really only a game away from having the best record, or tied for it, 3-2, but they come out of this 3-3. They think they have a major problem. Out pattern goes to Jerry Butler. He's trouble. Jerry Butler gets out to the 35-yard line. A gain of about 15 yards.
Now that's a heck of a play by Joe Devlin, it looked to me.
Yeah.
He was the right tackle, and when the play started, here he is. He's coming all the way out trying to help his wide receiver. When he does so, Butler can cut off as he gets a block on Dwayne Woodruff. You see that? He cuts it down. Now the pursuit is having a little trouble getting into the act. He picks up 10 yards before he even gets contact. Active tackles can help in other ways.
So the first down, and it's 1st and 10 for Buffalo just across the Bills' 35-yard line early in the 2nd quarter with no score. Joe Krebs works hard and doesn't get much as those Pittsburgh Steelers shut it down. Shell and Johnson. And now, while we have a moment, let's go to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don Cricky. This is Mike Adamley in their traditional rivalry.
Right now, really have their stuff together, and they, of course, are 4-1 and like to beat Cleveland as much as they like to beat anybody.
That's right. You can bet all those teams that are 2-3 and 3-2 are rooting for the 4-1 teams, unless they're playing them.
Roosevelt Leaks carries the ball on 2nd and 8 and got ahead for 2 yards. Robin Cole at the right outside linebacker, and Mel Blunt around the stop for Pittsburgh. Joe Ferguson wishing he could get that one back he threw earlier when the Bills were down in point-blank range.
And I think just what you said is what Joe has thought of in the past, which has killed him. Forget what happened. It's like you can't get it back. It's gone for the rest of the universe. And just go out and play this play as well as you can, and things might happen well.
He's been throwing well, 5 for 8 for 70 yards and the 1 interception. 3rd down and a long 4. He gets some time. He's got a man, Jerry Butler, who just doesn't miss when he gets the ball, and Butler is down at the 47-yard line. He has a 1st down. Only great.
That's a nice throw. The only thing I have to compare it to is on the other side, Bradshaw, who I know throws very few bad balls and is great in this kind of weather, has had a little trouble throwing the ball where he wants. Now, this defensive secondary is a zone defense. They're going to play mostly zone today. Who wouldn't? Unless they're blitzing, you'll see a zone coverage. Don't let them beat you deep one-on-one. Okay, if you're going to play back, and this is Mel Blunt, who might be one of the finest defensive corners ever to play this game, he's given the receiver some room. Make them make a lot of good plays to make a drive.
Bills starting out deep in their own end, moving it out now, 1st and 10. Play fake. He's looking long. He's got a man out there again and again. Jerry Butler, what a player. Turns out, and again, John, as you've been pointing out, Ferguson throwing perfect strikes.
He really made a great throw. And Butler ran an excellent pattern again on Mel Blunt. He got Blunt turned. He got his back turned, and he was taken off toward the end zone. Stopped just after he got him turned. It was an easy throw and an easy catch once you make the good execution.
2 tight ends in the game now on 1st and 10. Another good gainer for the Buffalo Bills as they get it downfield.
And the conditions have improved since the game started, Don. It looked like it might get unplayable, but they've improved.
Joe Krebs, the lone setback. From the 36 on a 1st down play, Krebs runs ahead. He almost lost the handle, but he kept it. Went down at the 32-yard line. Jack Ham brought him under. Jack Lambert also on the play. Bills get ahead for a gain of about 4 yards. 2nd and 6 coming up. No score on the board. 11:29 to play in the 1st half. If you joined us late, it was a snow-covered field at the outset. The snow has stopped, a few flakes falling. Wind is going to be a factor as the day wears on. That cold winter wind blowing in across the Niagara River from Canada.
Old Moe's with Buffalo, but they better get something for it.
It's been with all game long, that momentum, but the Bills unable to get points. 2 missed field defensive blockers are ripping holes in the Steeler defense.
Remember you asked me, okay, what do you mean let the rest of the team play well, or let me play poorly and let them win? Right now, rather than take over and say, okay, I'm going to fire the ball into the zone down on the 10-yard line, let Cribbs and the offensive line go in the huddle and tell them, look, fellas, you're going to get it done if we get it done. It's yours to run in, or we'll kick a field goal. Just see how it works sometime. I think you'd find out it worked well.
Joe Cribbs has now run the ball 11 times for 34 yards, getting a lot of work early. Ferguson has to throw. Gets it away. Almost intercepted. Robin Cole tipped the ball, and Mel Blount made a play on it. Almost a sack, and then almost a worse mistake.
What were we talking about? Just saying they just picked up a first down on 2 real good Cribbs runs.
Yeah.
Let them continue doing it. And Joe has been accustomed to having to carry the load for years and years and years here at Buffalo. And in his defense, they do send the plays down. So it's not his to call. I'm just saying let the offensive line and the fullback do it for a few trips.
Second down and 10. 25-yard line. Nothing there. Steelers shut that down. Rushing through and making the stop was the nose tackle Gary Dunn and the right end John Beasley.
The call might have been all right, but they blitzed. There's no trap play that's going to work well against a well-executed blitz.
Coach Knox from the Pittsburgh area, from Sewickley, Pennsylvania. Now looking at a Buffalo team that needs this win so badly. Has moved the ball well, but is unable to put up any points. Third down and 10 as Ferguson goes in the shotgun with wide receivers set. 3 to the right, 1 to the left, over the middle. He's got Jerry Butler heading for the end zone. Jerry Butler's down to the 3.
That's great. He's come to Butler on 2 occasions with Blount playing off him now. You saw what happened when he played a little closer. Run a delay, get off there fast. Now, Jerry Butler runs a real good delay pattern, but when he comes, he's coming flat out. Runs right off the other receivers before Blount can even get to him. He's picked up 18 yards. Well thrown ball.
But as we've seen illustrated before, John, being at the 3-yard line is no sure thing for Buffalo.
Okay.
22-yard gain on that play. Now you're saying that running has worked well for them.
I'm just saying let these guys get after it. Let them get it. Don't try to do it all yourself.
Steelers dig in. They'll be tough to run against. Roosevelt Leaks finds that out. He got down ahead maybe to the line of scrimmage. Be second and goal from the 3. Mike Merriweather, a good rookie from Pacific, and the always good Jack Lambert were on the stop for the Steelers. All against the Steelers. Get the down over and they'll move it half the distance.
Yes, sir. 1.5 yards is a big 1.5 yards once you get inside the 5-yard line. But let's remember, we've played almost 22 minutes.
12 men on the field.
Defense. Stop.
The extra guy. The CFL.
Yes, sir. Almost 22 minutes. Buffalo's made drive after drive, and the score's 0.
12 men allowed in the Canadian Football League. In the NFL, the 12th man is the sideline for the defense.
That's right. Or used to be.
That's a lot of guys, that 12th man. First and goal for Buffalo. Leaks is the up back. Cribbs is the setback. He can dive over the top. Cribbs shoots down to the 1, and the Steelers stop him. He got maybe a yard. As the Pittsburgh Steelers were shooting the gaps with big people, John Goodman and rookie Keith Willis were on the stop.
They stopped him for a half-yard loss. That means your offensive line's getting beat.
.15 left to go in the first half. The Bills with 3 previous scoring opportunities, unable to convert. Look at the yardage. Buffalo totally dominating the football game, but we still have zeros on the board. No score up. Leaks down close. He didn't get in. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Edmund Nelson, 6'4", 64 off the bottom of the pile. Keith Willis was also there.
I guess before the situation comes up, Don, so that you don't get caught second guessing or being a Monday morning quarterback. Right now, I would decide whether or not I'm going to throw the ball for a touchdown or make 2 running plays. Because from a yard, a little over a yard, I don't know if I'd go for it on 4th. But anything inside that 1-yard line, I would. They've probably made that decision. I expect them to go for it twice.
Looking for him to run the ball twice.
Yes, if the first one doesn't get it, have another go at it.
Roosevelt leaks. It's a
touchdown.
Touchdown, Buffalo. Hands go up. So the Bills finally punch it in as the yards come so tough against the Steeler defense down close. But finally, after the Bills drive a 4th time, they get points and they break a scoreless tie and lead the game 6-0.
You're going to see a bit more offense from here on out. The conditions have improved tremendously. Now the footing is starting to get a whole lot better. We've seen Pittsburgh on an almost outstanding goal line stand. They got away for 22 minutes without giving up a point, getting blown around on the field. 6-0, trying to make it 7. Buffalo's played well, actually better than the 6 or 7 point advantage.
They have that. And finally they break the tie to 6-0, and now Efren Herrera will try to kick the point after. Matt Kofler, rookie, is the holder, and the kick is up and good. So the Buffalo Bills with 7 minutes and 11 seconds left to play in the first half open up the first lead of this game, taking a 7-0 advantage. Pittsburgh receives when we come back.
It's easy to tell the guy who owns.
Don Criqui with John Brody back at Orchard Park, New York, with the Buffalo Bills, using 7 minutes and 39 seconds, have just driven 78 yards in 13 plays. Roosevelt leaks, that fame some years ago, finally popped it in from a yard and a half out.
That was also against the wind. I think we say that to illustrate that it's not as tough to operate against as it was at the start of the game.
Wind knocks the ball off the tee for Efren Herrera. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots, playing at Foxborough, have gone through the first quarter with no score. Detroit is leading Green Bay 17-0. The sun is out now, but the temperature is probably in the high teens at this point.
And they don't have high teens. And the chill factor is about zip.
It's got to be. There is a wind which historically has gotten worse in the late afternoons, or stronger. Maybe not worse if you like wind. The kick is short, and down with the ball again is Walter Abercrombie. He's a terror if he gets in the open field, and Walter Abercrombie comes all the way out to the 40-yard line. And a penalty marker's down. Rod Cush, number 42, made the play on Abercrombie, but it's going to be against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Little 40-yard penalty there. Rather than getting it at midfield in great field position, they get it down inside their own 15-yard line.
So the good return by Abercrombie is negated, and the penalty sets the ball back to the Pittsburgh Steelers 12-yard line. 7:03 to play in the first half.
Back on the return.
Pittsburgh has only 1 first down in this game, according to our NBC statistician Steve Dans, and that was on a penalty. Buffalo has 11 first downs. Chuck Knox ready for the weather, and so far his Bills have been ready for the Steelers. Back after this. On a chill December day in western New York, the Pittsburgh Steelers with just 1 first down in this game, trailing 7-0, and they're very lucky to be down only 7-0. Go on offense, 1st and 10 at their 12-yard line. Pitch back. Here comes Franco. Not very far. Eugene Marr, 54, and Irvin Parker, 62.
Boy, that was a tip job. If anybody took a look at the right tackle and right guard for Pittsburgh, Larry Brown got up there to the line of scrimmage and then kind of slid back about a foot just before he got down into his stance. It's a quick pitch. He did so to be able to get out so he could help his running back. Well, Marr and Irvin Parker knew exactly what was going on when a lineman does that, and they're right in on the play, almost like they were in the huddle.
2 young linebackers. Irvin Parker's in his 3rd year from South Carolina State, and Eugene Marr is the rookie from Saginaw Valley. Both big guys. Parker's 6'5", 245. 2nd and 9. Franco looking to run and doesn't get too much, got across the 15-yard line, and we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WBZ-TV, Channel 4, Boston.
Chris Keating was on the tackle. Don Criqui with John Brody on a chill day in western New York as the Buffalo Bills, going 78 yards on their 4th possession, take the ball into the end zone on a Roosevelt Leaks touchdown run. And finally a tie is broken, and now with 5:45 to play in the first half, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who come into this game with a 4-1 record, find themselves with 3rd down and 6 coming up.
Looks like they're going to play a little double zone. They're not going to give him any cheap outside throws. He's going to have to make a good throw to get a first down.
Steelers 0 for 4 on 3rd downs. The ball is short, way underthrown, and now the Bills will get it back again on a punt.
Good defense, Don. You can see they took away the short outs. Bradshaw would love to have gone to that. We mentioned he's 1 for 6, 1 interception. That is not the way Terry Bradshaw is expected to play, or people are used to having him play, because they wouldn't be 4-1 if he was. He's been having a great year, has thrown 12 touchdowns this year, and it's only, what, 5 games old? That's enough in itself, but they're not moving now.
No, they are not. And now John Goodson gets a wide snap, gets it away. He hits a long punt downfield that Mosley fields, but he'll return it to the 35, the 40. Mosley holds on and goes down at the 43-yard line. Tyrone McGriff was down there along with Rick Moser.
Little 55-yarder.
He unloaded a 55-yarder, but the Bills get the ball back, leading the game 7-0 when we come back to Buffalo. Bills leading the game 7-0, set to go on offense. 1st and 10 with 5:18 to play in the first half. Bills have the ball at their 43-yard line. Ferguson with a lot of big numbers passing the ball. Bradshaw with no numbers other than the 1 interception. Joey Krebs comes up the middle, and he's close to a first down for Buffalo. Stutter stepping on a bad track. Jack Lambert knocked him down, but it's good for a 10-yard gain and a first down.
We've seen him move the ball to the left side and not have a lot of success, but when you get your inside linebackers pulling out, Lambert's the man they ran at. Lambert wasn't home. He tried to get in on the pursuit. Lambert has always been a pursuer. He's made a lot of tackles. So if you're alert upstairs, you say, I'll tell you what we have to do. We have to keep him home. The way we do it, a little delay action cross play, and they pick up first down.
First down it is. It is 1st and 10 for the Bills, and they cross midfield at the Pittsburgh 45-yard line. Back to Krebs, looking into the defense, but the Steelers are there to shut it down. Joe Krebs with a lot of carries early in the game. Gary Dunn and Tom Beasley were on the stop for the Steelers.
To 1. That's there isn't a department in which they are not totally controlling Pittsburgh, and yet it's 7-0. That's why this man has been such a great coach. He knows how to stay close when they're not going well, and when it is going for you, he'll blow you right out of the tub.
They can do that, these Steelers, as they did to Kansas City. But they have to be wondering, 2 weeks ago they went to Seattle and were shut out 16-0. Came back and played a great game last week. Now they've been able to do anything. Buster Barnett, who gets the ball thrown to him about once every 4 weeks. He's a blocking tight end, comes down with the football for a gain on 2nd and 8. He got ahead for 5 yards. Lambert tackled him. Buster Barnett is a big guy at 6'5", 250 pounds. He can move out that strong linebacker.
Well, he just played a double tight end situation, so they wouldn't know which way the formation was favoring, and they could then throw passes to any one of 4 receivers, and you can't put backs on all of them. So he found Barnett open and hit it.
Bills coming up now, 3rd down and 3. They've converted 4 of 7 previous 3rd downs. The Steelers are 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. Bills in the shotgun from the Steeler 38.
Blunt's up tight on Butler this time. He's not going to let him run the same pattern.
Here's the blitz. Ferguson has to run. He looks, he throws. He's got a man. It is Lou Picone. Lou is the cry here in Buffalo. 16-yard gain and a first down for the Bills.
Boy, that's a good play, because he had to signal Butler back into the center of the field and caught Picone out of the corner of his eye after he thought the play was going for naught. That's good movement. He hasn't thrown the ball this time. He knows it's 3rd down. It's a sack's almost the same thing as throwing an incomplete. So he slides out to the left, tries to give himself a little time. Now waves Butler inside. At the same time, Picone comes open. Big play on a broken one.
escape for Joe Ferguson as the Steelers almost had him, but they get a 16-yard gain and a first down to the Buffalo Bills, and they have the ball at the 17-yard line of Pittsburgh. Buffalo leading 7-0. 2:50 to play in the first half. Cribbs, nothing there. Got ahead for 2 to the 14-yard line. Jack Lambert, who's been making tackles all day long, comes down with another one for the Steelers. Clock winds down to 2:38 to play in the first half.
He's making an awful lot of them away from his area, too.
Roland Hooks now comes in the game for Buffalo. It's going to be 2nd down and 7, and Hooks, when he comes in, often is the recipient of a throw. Good pass catcher coming out of the backfield. They have 2 in there now, Cribbs and Hooks in an open set, so the Bills could be throwing here.
About 8 to nothing they're throwing.
Swing pass goes out to Joe Cribbs. Steelers shut it down for a loss of 3 yards. Good defensive play by Pittsburgh. Lauren Taves, number 51, one of the inside linebackers, was on the tackle. Taves was the first man to make the hit. Now, with the Bills calling a timeout, we pause for this word. With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. The Buffalo Bills leading the game 7-0. And right now they have the ball 3rd down and 10 at the Pittsburgh Steelers 16-yard line. The Bills losing 3 yards on the last drive. So now we'll see what they do. They've gone to Jerry Butler often in this game for big downs. Steelers having problems containing the Bills on 3rd down.
You can bet that Mel Blount will not let Jerry Butler do the same thing he did before. He will play him right hand up and take his chances. The last time they were in a zone, he went back and probably scared people into letting him play something different.
The shotgun, here's a blitz. They pick it up, a timing pattern into the end zone. Butler, was he interfered with? No. It's a clean play, and the Bills, Mel Blount. The Steelers, Mel Blount, knocking down Jerry Butler in the ball, and so it comes up empty, and the Bills will now try a field goal attempt.
It's the right place to try and go. Now, I don't see any reason for Ferguson to get quite as disturbed right now as he appears to be. File it. Okay, you call the right play into the right defense, but Butler didn't beat Blount that time. So what? Take your 3 points, go off to the sideline, but don't take the responsibility for trying to get it in every time. You go broke doing that, and you give yourself a lot of no-sleep nights. He's had enough of those. I think he ought to be a little easier on himself, and they'll all go better.
Efren Herrera, who missed 2 previous field goal attempts, hits a line drive that looks like it's got the distance and the range, and it does, and the Bills extend their lead to 10-0 with 1:52 to play in the first half. 10 points, a lot in a cold weather game like this, but the Steelers with a long time to come back, and they'll be receiving the kickoff when we return.
Four-wheel.
It's out in the emergency room a little later. Here's the kickoff. Efren Herrera hits the ball. Bohannon runs the ball to the 20, and there is a big play by free ball. Eugene Marvo, they're ruling it down. That'll draw some boos, but the official right there ruled that Bohannon was down with the kickoff return. The Bills took it into the end zone, thought they had 6.
And he ruled it right. You know, this has been a one-sided game, and I think the one statistic that proves it best, this looks like an excellent tackle, and it is by Marvin. He's made some playing defense also, but the man hit the ground, then the ball went loose. The stat that impresses most people is 28 plays Buffalo's had it inside Pittsburgh's 50, and in the reverse, Pittsburgh has not crossed the 50. So I guess that'll tell you something.
Steelers not across midfield, and they've been having problems just getting out of their own end with a first down. They've got 1 first down so far, and that on a penalty. Bills lead 10-0. Bradshaw's looking deep now. He swings it out to Franco Harris, and the defense is there again. Chris Keating, who stepped in for the injured Jim Haslett, makes the stop for Buffalo, and Coach Knowles says, let's get it going here.
Geez, you really look smart. If you're a linebacker and you see a man go out for a screen pass, and you're assigned to him anyway when he goes out for a pass because it was a blitz defense, and you follow him right out there, everybody says, man, that guy's alert. You can't throw a screen on him. Well, that's the only assignment he has, is to get on Franco Harris. He did that.
Right now, the game clock shows 1:25 to play in the first half, and we'll return with the Steelers 2nd down and 13 coming up after this by the National Football League. NFL 82, the report on the 6th weekend of play coming up at halftime as the Pittsburgh Steelers unable to get on track on offense, and Lynn Swan wide to the right. John Starwood's on the left flank. Look at the domination of the Bills. Here's a man so far offside, Sherman White, that you have to wonder if he wasn't drawn off.
Well, you don't know who moved first. Penny looked to me like he came out of his crouch. Prematurely, and
Bills officiating the game. They say to mark it off. They'll give those striped shirts some help.
Well, you see, that's another effect. Putting a good pass rush on a quarterback can have. Your linemen start making sure they don't let you in.
Ball start, number 74, offense.
Could get Ray Penny moving early.
When you move early, that's where you always end up.
Bills with a chance to get the ball back if they can stop the Steelers now. Second down and 17 coming up for Pittsburgh. Jim Smith goes in motion. Lamar Parrish stays with him. Bradshaw with a problem. Now he fumbles the ball. Free ball, and Isaiah Robertson has a play on it and comes up with it at the 10-yard line.
I don't know.
Fred Smerlas forced the fumble, and Isaiah Robertson comes up with a football. And the Bills now have it at the 10-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Okay, we see Bradshaw looking for someone downfield. Sees nobody. Again, it's a good pass rush, a 4-man pass rush. Smerlas is playing outstanding football today. He's one of the great nose tackles in the game, but here we see him in a 4-man rush where he's a one-on-one pass rusher. When you get that opportunity and you only have one man handling you, a good tackle will get penetration on the quarterback. He does, and really is responsible for causing the fumble.
So with 1:15 left to go, another Steeler turnover, and the Bills come up with big field position at the 11-yard line. Steelers with a Bradshaw interception, and now the fumble recovery by Isaiah Robertson. It's an NBC doubleheader day. Rookie sensation Marcus Allen leads the LA Raiders against the Chiefs at Kansas City in the second game that most of you will see. Some will see the Denver Broncos taking on the LA Rams. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's next on NBC. First and 10 actually now from the 11-yard line for Buffalo, and Joe Ferguson now goes over to the sidelines as there's a timeout on the field. 1:15 to play in the first half. Bills, their first 3 possessions, had scoring opportunities every time. Missed 2 field goals, and then on 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line of Pittsburgh, Joe Ferguson was intercepted by Dwayne Woodruff, and they came up empty on 3 big drives. Then they finally took it 78 yards, and Roosevelt Leak scored the only touchdown of the game.
They're talking about what would be best right now, and I think you'll see him not get greedy. If you do throw the ball, throw it to the outside. Throw some sort of a delay pattern where one of your halfbacks is running to the outside. Don't try to force either Butler or Tuttle into the middle of the playing field, because any kind of a bounce can go the wrong way. And for them to come out only 10-0 the way they've dominated this first half, they would be in trouble going into the locker room, because Pittsburgh's only got 18 yards in offense the first half, as opposed to 194 for Buffalo. So as we look at the schedule the next couple of weeks, we know how important a game this is for Buffalo, right?
Well, they get some good weather coming up in the next couple of weeks, but it ain't at home. 2 Florida games, Tampa Bay and Miami, and then on to New England. First and 10, Buffalo, 11-yard line of the Steelers. Ferguson looping it down to Jerry Butler. He goes up, and it's almost intercepted by Mel Blount, who's now got a glove on Jerry Butler after he played way off him early in the game, and Butler turned him in and out. Now Blount's right head on with him, and Jerry Butler's unable to catch the ball.
Well, you can expect him to try that area again, because now Blount is playing Butler one-on-one. Twice he's forced him to the sideline, giving him no room. Butler has still got a late to the inside move with a lot of room to run, and I think they'll try him again.
Well, they have second down and 10 coming up from the 11.
Look at that donkey.
He ain't young.
May be about as old as he's
surviving doing
get,
that for a while. 1-10 as Ferguson takes a look. Guns, he throws, it's intercepted, and it could go back. Again, Dwayne Woodruff picks off Joe Ferguson. And Ferguson will be roundly booed when he comes off, although he should not be. He's been directing this offense with sharp throwing. Dwayne Woodruff saving 2 touchdowns for Pittsburgh in this game.
Yeah, sharp throwing is correct, but when you see nothing there, don't try to make something happen. He did that twice. Now, as much an advocate as I am of Joe Ferguson's ability, I think he made a wrong decision right there. That's the second time he's given Woodruff a chance to make an interception when the ball could easily have been thrown out of bounds. So they take their 3. So what?
So with 1:01 to play in the first half, the Steelers go back on offense, 1st and 10. Second time in his career that Dwayne Woodruff has intercepted 2 in one game. And both stop scoring opportunities down close. Bradshaw, who's been unable to throw it all, can't once again as the Buffalo Bills' Ben Williams records the 4th sack of this game for the Bills defense.
A lot of fun when you've got things going your way, as the Bills do now, particularly for the down linemen. They set the tempo, but when they get things going in a certain direction, boy, they have fun.
They had a loss there, John, of 7, so it's going to be 2nd down and 17. Game clock, as you saw, down to 44. Here's a hard throw to Benny Cunningham, but there's too much on it. Cunningham gets knocked down after the play. Ben Williams again had the big rush on Bradshaw and hit him just as he released the ball.
Very good underneath coverage. They're not giving Bradshaw a chance to throw to any receivers underneath. They've got 5th and 6th backs in the play. You can see Cush is the man, 42. That's Simpson who polishes him off. But Cush is the man who forced Benny Cunningham down the field without allowing him to come open early.
So now the Steelers have the ball at their 13-yard line. John Stallworth, who caught that bomb against Kansas City a week ago out in the left flank. Pittsburgh with net yards of -3 in this game. Running with the ball is Greg Hawthorne, and he gets some yardage for Pittsburgh. Got back to lost yardage and got ahead across the 20 to the 23.
That gives them a solid flat 0 for the half.
3rd and 7 coming up.
I don't think Pittsburgh.
No, 4th down.
I don't think Pittsburgh in the last, I know in the last 10 years that I can remember, they have not been held to no yards in a half of football. So that's not only the weather had something to do with that, but more than that, I think the defense of Buffalo.
It has been very motivated. Next Saturday, it's a football-basketball doubleheader here on NBC Sports. First at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. The New York Jets, who are rolling again today against Tampa Bay, take on their much disliked AFC rival, the Miami Dolphins. The Jets have been waiting for that game since an opening loss to Miami. Then 2 high-powered college basketball teams do battle in Los Angeles. The 6th-rated Iowa Hawkeyes going against the number 4 UCLA Bruins. It's all next Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time right here on NBC Sports. John Goodson hits another line drive punt. Roland Hooks fields it on a 2-hop. Or does he? Finally picks it up, and the Steeler coverage sweeps him under. 45-yard punt. With 18 seconds to play in the half, the Bills go back on offense. Probably to run the ball into the line.
This might be a good idea. Not, no turnover. Don't give them a field goal. I mean, if they went in at halftime 10-3, only 7 points down, having made no yards, as against 200 for Buffalo with the way that they've played.
The only good pass catcher, John, the Steelers have had in this game has been Dwayne Woodruff on defense. He's been glue-fingered.
Well, that's, I mean, you're talking about Pittsburgh. Now, of course, that Jerry Butler's been pretty darn outstanding.
For Buffalo.
And Tuttle has done excellently, but that's right. Woodruff's caught the most for the Steelers.
Butler's caught 5 for 70 yards for Buffalo. Look at the Bills. They're looking for some. Joe Cribbs can't hold on at the Pittsburgh 45-yard line. Came in low and caromed off Joe Cribbs. Merriweather covering. Now 12 seconds left.
Edmund Nelson, one of the young players that Pittsburgh has stocked their club with. What do they have? 14 rookies. And I was talking with Joe Gordon yesterday, and they've been giving an awful lot of credit to the younger players for making their team what it is this year. However, you don't see any in the starting lineups. He mentioned that isn't really where they've helped. They've helped by putting competition into positions that heretofore that didn't exist. And he says, I think we've got an overall better team than we've had the last couple of years.
Now the Bills will run out the first half as they go to the run. Roosevelt Leaks, who scored the game's only touchdown, culminating a 78-yard drive, takes the ball, and down he goes, and the clock runs out. So the Steelers go to the locker room looking to regroup. The Bills go in, hoping they can keep it going. Halftime score, Buffalo 10 and Pittsburgh nothing. We'll be back after this.
Pittsburgh, without this interception and a later one, Pittsburgh would be in bigger trouble. Joe Ferguson, 22-yard pass to Jerry Butler. Set up their first touchdown. It is 10-0. Here's the second interception. Without the two interceptions, Pittsburgh might be trailing 24-0. Instead, it's 10-0 halftime. Buffalo threatening to go 4-2. Pittsburgh would drop to the same record. In St. Louis, Washington has 2.
And right now, the wind is kicking up, and I don't know if you've ever been colder, John, but it's got to be as close to the all-time as we've come.
I've had a few ties, Don, but I have not been colder. This is, yes, it is. Kenny Edmondson, it's cold out here.
We've come.
I've had a few ties, Don, but I have not been colder. This is, yes, it is. Kenny Edmondson, it's cold out here. We'll stay as long as you like. Those fellas have to stay another 30 minutes. I think I've never seen a team dominated the way I have seen Pittsburgh dominated on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And it just shows you when you're winning in the line what your stars can do. Bradshaw's had the worst day I've ever seen. And on the other side of the coin, I think Ferguson's played very well.
John, now you've played in a lot of days like this in your career, and Bradshaw is really in a hole. He's been unable to get on track. Do you think he could ever generate anything in the second half, or is it going to be this way the whole day?
The most unpredictable quarterback I've ever seen in my life, and I'd say yes, if anybody can, Terry can. I don't think any other human could, but he might come from disaster to the pit house.
Well, we'll be ready for the second half in a moment. In this game, John.
Yes, and unless they find a way at halftime to penetrate defensive secondarily, what they've got going in Buffalo, this will be the last time they'll kick off, because I think the 5 people that play defense for Buffalo in the secondary have just totally outplayed the offense for Pittsburgh. See how old Moe's changed at halftime, too.
You know, temperature was 20 degrees, but there's a real strong wind. I want to tell you, the chill factor, it's got to be 20 below out there.
Well, the guy that took that reading wasn't out in it. I'll tell you that.
Now, that was a guess. A big game for both teams, and now here's the kickoff, and Mosley, a sprinter, takes the ball back across the 10 to the 20 and out to the 23-yard line. Mike Mosley might be the fastest Buffalo Bill. First-year player out of Texas A&M, where he was a wishbone quarterback, drafted in the second round because of his overall athletic ability.
And I think Mosley, who isn't a natural athlete, is one of the few long striders that I've ever seen returning punts and kickoffs. Usually the long striders are wide receivers, an occasional halfback, and quarterbacks. I don't know how long he'll be returning kickoffs and punts, but I haven't seen many long striders do it for a very long time.
He's a sprinter. He might be the fastest player in the Buffalo team. Ran a legitimate 4.340. Call him White Lightning. 1st and 10. Joey Krebs runs the ball for Buffalo, and very well. Look at that play by Krebs. He's got a man to beat, and that man, Dwayne Woodruff, finally pushes him out of bounds.
Yes, sir. You can always tell which team's the home team, because the stage manager starts jumping up and down when your home team gets out in an open field. That was good for about 25 of the finest, but here's a play where you've got your offensive line in front of you. John Borchardt, look at him leading Krebs, number 73. He has a little trouble finding somebody to block. Everybody'd fallen down. 17 carries for Krebs for 89 yards. That's not a bad day. First play of the second half.
Big gainer, 33-yard gainer, down to the 42-yard line of the Steelers as Pittsburgh digs in. Now Gary Dunn down over the nose of the ball at the middle guard position. John Goodman at left end, Tom Beasley at right end. They go back to the run. Roosevelt Leaks takes the ball and powers it right at the Steelers and down to the 38-yard line. Lauren Taves was on the stop. And here's a penalty marker after the play. Lambert might have done that intentionally to fire up those
Just
Steelers.
trying to get something going. He knows they're dead. They've been run over both offensively and defensively. If there's one guy that always gets something stimulated when the pot gets a little bit cool, it's Lambert.
Jack Lambert. Let's see what the call is.
Personal foul. Offense, personal foul on the offense and defense. Offense penalty.
That one must have been for insulting the referee, because you see, he didn't do much here. He kind of gets up.
That'll happen on occasion. The referee will get insulted.
Yeah, I think that's what did happen. I don't think Will Grant got hurt.
They'll do the down over again. 2nd down and 5. Offsetting penalty. Joe Krebs gets a load of Robin Cole and some Lauren Taves also, and there's no gain on the play, maybe a yard. So now 3rd down arises for Buffalo, and specialists are sent to the game. Lou Picone comes in, so does Mike Mosley.
Looks like they'll play the 4 wide receiver offense. It's a double wing formation, trying to get somebody one-on-one. Generally one of the inside slot backs. They'll try to get one-on-one, hit him to the outside break, see if it happens.
Third down and 3 for Buffalo. Ferguson takes a look, lets her go. Jerry Butler going for the ball, but it's overthrown, and 4th down comes up.
That was one of those plays that if they'd had all year to be working on, Butler would have seen there was no one in the deep outside secondary, and Ferguson can see it easy from where he's sitting, but it's a diagram to go to the outside. Now Ferguson holds up to see if Butler sees the opening all the way down the field. He doesn't see it till it's a little too late. Ferguson's already thrown it down there. It's a miscoordination, and they blew a touchdown. I haven't seen Pittsburgh make as many mental errors as I have seen them make today.
I talked to Dan Rooney briefly at halftime, the president of the Steelers. He said some of our guys are just flat getting run over. We're playing poorly, he said. Taylor in to punt the ball for the first time for Buffalo. It's a high arcing punt angling for the sideline, and it's caught by Mike Mosley at the 3-yard line. It's a good way to down it.
I think that's Jeff Nixon, wasn't it? Or was it?
Jeff Nixon gets the call. Yeah.
The reason I was saying that is because we haven't seen much of him all day, and he set the league on fire a couple years ago before Bill Simpson took over, so they've got depth.
We are
First offensive day of the season. Ready to go now. Put in a hole by the punt by Cater. Bradshaw looking to air it out on 1st down, but he comes in short of John Stallworth turning out. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge. By the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. And by Polaroid. The fun starts when you share Polaroid instant pictures. Don Criqui with John Brody, Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Steelers. Franco is hit hard by Ben Williams, the left end. Franco Harris goes down at the 5-yard line. These Bills came out smoking on a cold day, and they haven't let up.
You can see Terry kind of looking into his file, saying, I wonder if I do have a play when it's 10-0. We've got no yards to show for the day's work. I'm 2 for 9. I've completed 3 yards worth of passes, 1 interception. What is the play that gets me out of this jam? If he's got one, we'll see it right now.
A lot on the line. The Steelers at the outset of the day were talking about possibly having a home field through the playoffs, but still a long way to be decided. Pittsburgh right now in a hole and in trouble. Bradshaw gets some time. He unloads, and again it's almost intercepted and then almost caught by a Steeler. Jim Smith had the ball off of a Buffalo defender. Lamar Parrish had the ball. He started to run, lost it, and Jim Smith almost had it. It goes as an incomplete pass.
It's a very tough play to complete. Bradshaw's trying to throw it in to an area where there are 2 defenders, 1 receiver. That means he hasn't picked out the right guy somewhere, or else he didn't have one employed in the pattern. But this looks like a sure turnover, and it almost turns into a 1st down by Smith. Now, We've got, look at Mosley. Look how far back he is. The ball's on the 5-yard line. Mosley's in the other territory. That's 50 yards from the line of scrimmage.
And Goodson's kicking into a heavy wind. He got the ball off the end of his foot. A one-hopper that Mosley takes. The 44 dives ahead to the 41-yard line. So the Bills go on offense with good field position.
Pretty bit better.
39-yard punt and a 7-yard return. So the Bills will have it first and 10 at the Steeler 41-yard line when we come back.
Nikon introduces a new...
The winningest percentage coach in playoff football history in the NFL. Right now, his Steelers unable to move the ball, and they have to play defense again as Joe Cribbs runs hard with the ball for Buffalo, gets ahead on a first down carry for 2 yards. While we have a moment, we switch to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don. Len Berman, NFL.
Get back in it. The Battle of Ohio. Buffalo has been in Pittsburgh territory for 32 offensive plays, we're now informed, and Pittsburgh still, John, not across midfield with the football. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Bills at the 39-yard line of the Steelers. Ferguson airs it out. They're going to Butler again.
He's having trouble changing his route because there's another situation where he's one-on-one with Blunt all over the field. They're trying to get to Ferguson. You can see the frustration that Ferguson feels. Very seldom. He can go whole weeks without ever getting this situation. 47 is Mel Blunt on number 80, Jerry Butler. Now it's a blitz situation from ground level. As Ferguson looks down the field, he sees the whole inside of the playing field is open. Butler doesn't see it, stays on his route, and they just miscommunicate again.
And so the ball now is at the 39-yard line with 3rd down coming up, 3rd down and 9.
Do the same thing. You're bound to get one of those babies.
This time Blunt has Perry Tuttle. Ferguson, who was hot early in the game, has missed his last 7 throws. A lot of them have been deep. He looks. Again, he goes long, and there's nobody within 20 yards of that. Good coverage by Anthony Washington also on Lou Picone. Ferguson was leveled by Big Tom Beasley. So the Bills will have to punt the ball for a 2nd time in the game. 11:33 to play in the 3rd quarter. Joe Ferguson and the Buffalo Bills offense holding to a 10-0 lead. Willie Sidnor, who's a tight end, going back as a punt returner. The wind kicking up as the day darkens now. An overcast day. Heavy snow earlier. The field was actually whisked off by a mobile broom on the front of a Jeep. Here's Willie Sidnor turning upfield, and Willie gets to the 20-yard line, and that's almost been good field position for the Steelers the way things have been going. But now we see a penalty marker come in, John, so they could be set back from there. Depending on the call, Lucius Sanford was down to cover the punt for Buffalo. Steelers at Cleveland next Sunday.
On the offense.
Got the Bills on it.
I don't think they'll take that one.
It is a doubleheader day on NBC as we listen to Pat Haggerty say.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. On the offense. Decline. First down.
Declined it was, so it's at the 19-yard line, and the Steelers go on offense there, 1st and 10. A doubleheader day. Many of you will be seeing the L.A. Raiders and Marcus Allen going against the Chiefs at Kansas City. We'll come back to Orchard Park after this. Whole day.
Hertz, the #1 rent-a-car company, announces the #1 travel award program, the Hertz Frequent Renter Program. Now, every time you rent from Hertz, you can earn credits toward travel awards.
Like free airline tickets for our vacation.
Stays at leading hotels.
And a free rental of a luxury car from Hertz for 2 weeks.
For details, stop by any Hertz location and find out how the more you rent,
the more you get.
Hertz is #1 for everyone.
You know, Delta Airlines flies to a lot of places you'd like to see.
That'll sell a lot of cameras.
Maybe. If you take a round trip anywhere Delta flies in the United States or Puerto Rico, you can take a friend with you at no charge.
Oh, good. We both go.
When you buy any one of these Polaroid 600 cameras, the second round trip coach fare is yours free. It's Polaroid's Sun ticket. You can use it anytime in 83.
I hate traveling alone. Don't you?
It depends on who I'm not with at the time.
A Saturday
Saturday edition of NFL 82. Michaels and the hard-hitting Jets battle Shula and his Miami Dolphins. Then, the fast-breaking UCLA Bruins take on the Hawkeyes of Iowa on NBC Sports next Saturday.
Scoring on the East Coast today.
Cleveland Browns back in the game against the Cincinnati Bengals at Riverfront Stadium. 3rd down and 3 now for Buffalo as Ferguson is back in the shotgun. They pick up the blitz. Here's a throw. It's a completion. And it's incomplete. Mosley lost the ball and it was up for grabs. A quick fastball delivered by Joe Ferguson, who can throw the hard one. Mosley had it and lost it.
Didn't have it
There's
too long.
There's a good day to go ballooning. That's what you want to do. Really get up in the wind.
To get out of Buffalo is what's liable.
He's liable to end up in Maine. Might not be anybody in that thing. Greg Cater will punt the ball now for Buffalo. 3 punts all in the second half. Willie Sidnor is back. This is his 3rd punt of the half coming up. Sidnor standing back at the Steelers' 12-yard line. Willie's going to take it on the run. And somebody is there to greet him right away. And that again was Nixon coming down. Jeff Nixon.
Give Sidnor credit. He jumped up there about 35 yards back of the line of scrimmage. It was a short 25-yard punt, but he caught it before it hit the ground, saved his team about 20 yards in exchange.
We'll come back right after this. For a minute. And the Miami Dolphins are having a fun day up in Foxborough. No score in the first half. But it's as bad up there or worse. Bradshaw on 1st and 10 gets time at long last, delivers a strike, but he goes right to Charles Romes. It's intercepted. Charles Romes comes back upfield and down to the 32-yard line. Tyrone McGriff finally knocked him down. But the Bills intercept Bradshaw a 2nd time and come up with the ball at the 32-yard line of Pittsburgh.
About all that proved, Don, is that you can catch a ball thrown by Terry Bradshaw today. It took Romes to do it, but look, Smirlis is the big reason. He's been beating Webster, who is the best center in this league, at the line of scrimmage. Now, that was one of the rare occasions where Webster had the best of it, allowed Bradshaw the time to throw. But when he did, look, he can't get it down the field to Simpson because there's a man that guards that middle area. Rose makes a great interception.
He did make a great
He keeps
one.
Bradshaw now. He's got 2 to both sides. 2 for 13 for 3 yards with 2 interceptions. That goes down as his all-time worst.
A long day for Bradshaw and a long way to go. With 8:30 to play in the 3rd quarter, pitch back goes to Joe Cribbs. And he breaks it open, and Cribbs goes inside the 20 with that stutter step move. He fumbled the ball. It went out of bounds. They'll see if it was ruled ahead and down. And now we're going to warm up a backup pitcher. Looks like the Steelers are ready to take a look at somebody else because Cliff Stott might have better luck than Terry Bradshaw.
Well, listen, as great as Terry Bradshaw is, and he may be the best player that ever played this game at that position. He may be. There are 5 who can lay claim, all right? But everyone has a day where it's awfully tough out there. It looks like they're playing with 15-man defenses. Everything's cloudy. There's nothing that's clear in your mind, and when that happens, the best thing to do is put in your second-string quarterback. That's what you have him there for. It's not always when a man goes down that he comes in. Stout would like to redeem himself. The last time he played, there was a goose egg on the board.
Look at this. Joe Cribbs inside the 10-yard line. He goes down to the 6 as the Bills split the Pittsburgh defense again. Ron Johnson and Mel Blunt stopped the touchdown. And now another penalty marker is down. It might be another one on Lambert.
I'll tell you, the impressive thing, though, while it's all going the wrong way for Pittsburgh, do you know that Joe Cribbs is the first back to make over 100 yards against Pittsburgh all year on a day like today? 22 carries for 110 yards.
Joe Cribbs came back after the preseason layoff, and now there's a problem down there. Some people talking to each other.
Here's the reason you say, okay, get the offensive line all pumped up and let Joe do it. My viewpoint, hey, Ferguson, let Joe do it some more. This is Joe's day. Just hand the ball off. It wouldn't be bad winning 10 to 0.
The flag was thrown in air. Disregard the flag.
But why was it thrown?
Yeah. What caused the error?
Seemed like a good thing to do, or what? We know that.
The flag was thrown in error, so the play goes, but there's no call. It would have been against Pittsburgh because an official was talking to Mr. Lambert when the play was over.
I thought he said the flag was thrown in the air. I'm sorry, he said it was thrown in air.
In error.
Okay.
The ball's down to the 6-yard line.
Offense, delay of game. The ball was alive, the clock was going, so we have a delay of game, offense.
That is a poor call. They called a delay of game on the offense. The Bills stopped playing when the official threw the flag, and then they said the flag didn't count.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
That's one. No, it's a delay of game.
Oh, I'll tell you what it was for.
Spiking the ball.
The guy spiked the ball, and when he did, it took the official a little bit longer to get the ball in play. Okay.
So now the ball comes out to the 11-yard line. It's going to be first and goal from there. A lot harder to get 11 against this defense than it is to get 6. Let's see what the Bills do as Bramer, the tight end, switches over to the right side. 2 tight ends in the game. Joe Cribbs out in front of, behind those blockers, turns in and gets back to the 6-yard line where it'll be second and goal. He got 5. Got it back.
You just, early in the game, you saw Pittsburgh hanging in there defensively. They were stopping Buffalo at the line of scrimmage. Their defensive line was getting a standstill. Right now, they're not. And if I were Joe, I'd hand the ball to Cribbs again.
The Steelers need the big play on offense. They haven't come close to having one. They need to hit the strike. And it looks like Cliff Stout's going to come in the game. He's warming up on the far sideline now as Bradshaw has had, as John pointed out, probably his worst day. And he hasn't had many bad ones over the years, except in that first year when he threw the 29 interceptions and people said he couldn't play. Second and goal. Here comes Cribbs. Cribbs right, Cribbs left. Cribbs up the middle, and Cribbs goes down to the goal line. Did he get in? He did not. But he's a foot away.
1 foot away, but I'll tell you what, Joe Cribbs would have made the goal line on most occasions. And here we go. Perfect example. Offensive line winning at the point of attack. Here we have 24 carries for 120 yards. Great day for Cribbs because his offensive line's giving him a little bit of room to run.
Joe Cribbs having a big day in the worst playing conditions. Now the Bills have the ball. Third and goal inside the 1-yard line. Curtis Brown is in the backfield, so is Roosevelt Leaks. Might go right to the left side to Rosie. They set up strong left. Roosevelt Leaks powers ahead, and Roosevelt Leaks is down to the goal line. Is he in? Well, the ball isn't there.
Powers ahead to the line of scrimmage.
That is it. Bills are going to go for it. 4th down coming up. Now here comes the whole field goal unit.
All the action takes place about a foot or 2 off the ground when you get down there. I'm surprised they're going for a field goal. And I'll tell you why. Because they've got them down on the 1-yard line. They've got a 10-point lead. 13 will still keep them within 2 touchdowns. They've got to kick the ball off. Do you follow me? This way, if you keep them down here with 10 points, nothing good has happened for Pittsburgh. I doubt if they'd be able to move the ball 4 yards in 3 downs, and you'll get another shot at it. But I'm not coaching. That's Chuck's job. He gets paid for it, and I hope he's right.
Well, it's an extra point attempt in effect. The field goal point-blank range is good. So the Bills extend their lead to 13-0 with 6:24 to play in the 3rd quarter. Stay tuned today to NBC Sports for the second half of our NFL doubleheader as rookie Marcus Allen and the Raiders go against the Chiefs at Kansas City. Some of you will see the Denver Broncos taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's all next today on a doubleheader day on NBC. And don't forget, next Saturday, it's a football-basketball doubleheader here on NBC. First at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, the New York Jets, holding to a 7-point lead at the moment over Tampa Bay, take on their rivals, the Miami Dolphins, who right now are in a scoreless tie in the 3rd quarter at New England. Then, 2 of the best in college basketball do battle at the UCLA Pauley Pavilion. 6th-rated Iowa moving fast goes against the number 4 UCLA Bruins right here on NBC Sports.
Let me tell you something about New England. It looks like they're going to slip it to Miami. They've got 4:40 to go in the 4th quarter. They're 3-0 ahead now.
Isn't that something? John Smith,
that's right,
latest in the Thunderfoots at New England, hits a 33-yarder, and it's 3-0 with 4:40 to go in the 4th quarter indeed. Now Efrain Herrera, who never saw weather like this in his native Mexico, ready to kick it off for the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's had 61 offensive plays and Pittsburgh 29. Pittsburgh is still not crossed midfield. The Bills have run much of their offense, most of it, 2/3 of it on the Pittsburgh side, 44 plays. High spinner goes to Abercrombie. And again, Rod Cush is there, number 42, to make the play on special teams. As the game clock is down to 6:17 to play in the third quarter, and Cliff Stout comes in to quarterback the Steelers. This is his third appearance of the year, Cliff Stout. In his 6 years in the league, he has only played in 11 games. Playoff money hadn't been bad, though.
No, and they think he can play. Well, if you sit around for 5 or 6 years, it's about that time that you start either going downhill or get an opportunity to play. Now, it's important that when he plays in a game like this, he does well. It's a tough condition, but if he wants to impress some people in the Steeler organization, he could do that by getting them back in the game.
Hawthorne gets the call, runs the ball on 1st and 10, and gets ahead for about 6 yards out to the 33-yard line. Irvin Parker, 62, the outside linebacker on the left side, made the stop. Mark Mosley, the kicker for Washington, with 3 field goals today, has the Skins going towards their 5th win of the season. They're 4-1 going in against the Cardinals.
I think this is the first time that I can remember Terry Bradshaw being replaced because of inefficiency. I've seen him go out because of injury.
But he always comes back.
That's right.
They go to a draw. Franco runs it straight ahead. First down, Pittsburgh. They get out to the 40. Pittsburgh's first down of this game coming from offensive plays. The only other one came on penalties.
And it's the first series of downs that Cliff Stout's in there. You think, you know, the offensive line says, hey, wait, it's not Terry's fault, it's us. Let's get something going here. Help the kid out, see if we can't get in the ball game. Remember, it's only 13-0.
John, you can end up talking to yourself trying to handicap this league and figure it out. Detroit's been on strike since the strike. Today they go against a good Green Bay team at Green Bay, and they're leading in the third quarter are the Lions 30-0. Franco runs again and doesn't get much. Tries to go wide. He dipped and then went down at the 42-yard line of the Steelers. Isaiah Robertson and Bill Simpson hit him. New England still holding to the 3-0 lead late in the fourth quarter over the Miami Dolphins, playing at Foxborough, Mass. Clinton Burrell of the Cleveland Browns ran back an interception, so the Cincinnati Bengals still holding to the 14-10 lead over Cleveland. Jets, after building up a big lead, 17-3, now lead 17-10. Baltimore's come back to tie up Minnesota. In fact, Baltimore went ahead, then Minnesota came back on a Dan Meyer field goal to make it 10-10. Stout, home run. People out there to cover. And it's incomplete, but it was interesting. There's not been much interesting about the Steeler offense as we go to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don.
You almost had the same conditions here. I mean, it's improved so well that when the game started, I thought we'd be playing in total white 4 feet of snow. But it's really it's still cold, but you do have footing. The wind isn't too bad.
It is cold. And now Stout stands in. He can go with the ball and does. And Stout is finally knocked down the 46-yard line. It was a third down play though in 9, so he comes up well short of a first down. Steeler defense will be back out once again as Pittsburgh has to punt the ball.
That's an illustration of people say, hey, there's 8 or 10 yards ahead of you. Why don't you run the ball? You can pick up 8 or 10 easy. Well, that was Bill Simpson, who was playing deep center field when Stout started to run the ball. He made him 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, so they do catch up in a hurry.
There's a guy down here who's been waving a Terry Bradshaw dummy hanging in effigy all day.
Yeah. This is not the man who made the catch on this particular play. But that's the man who is standing back to catch the punt. You know
ball. And the Bills come up with it. So even then, it doesn't break the Steelers' way.
Our producer, Kenny Edmondson, showed us this picture because he's been 45 to 50 yards back receiving punts. And as a result, they've all hit the ground before he could catch them. That time it was almost a turnover. And before the day's out, that may give Pittsburgh a chance to get back in the game.
Player down for Buffalo. So while the injured Bill is at 10-2, we remind you that next Sunday it's another NFL doubleheader here on NBC Sports. Battle of good quarterbacks. Terry Bradshaw heads to Cleveland, where they don't like Bradshaw or the Steelers, but the Pittsburgh Steelers seem to win a lot there. Ryan Sipe goes for the Cleveland Browns, and then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, most of you will see Joe Ferguson again leading the Bills into action against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Check your local listings for the time and the game in your area. It all starts at 12.
We're losing 20 yards every time you let it bounce. So he tries. He was too far back again. He's going to have to get much closer to the line of scrimmage receiving those punts.
The Bills in a rare position right now, starting out at their end of the field. They seem to have had the ball across midfield throughout the ball game. Right now they have it 1st and 10 after the punt at their 24-yard line. 3:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. Joe Cribbs breaks into open field, and Joe Cribbs gets to the 32-yard line.
That's a late flag thrown back there around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage as Jack Lambert and Donnie Shell combine on a stop for Pittsburgh.
Now, we see Cribbs, and he's getting such great blocking from his offensive line. Will Grant's turned into a comparable center with Mike Webster.
It's going to go against Buffalo, so the Steelers get a break here.
I don't know who they called it on, but take a look at that front three. Borchardt, Will Grant, number 53, Reggie McKenzie, number 67.
84, offense.
84, Buster Barnett, tight end. Sent him in there for lead the way.
Kelly led him back 10 yards. 1st and 20. Lou Picone comes out wide to the left. Frank Lewis didn't play because of a knee problem. Jerry Butler played extremely well, but he re-injured a muscle pull, re-pulled it, and now Lou Picone and Perry Tuttle, a rookie, are on the flank. And the Steeler defense pins Buffalo down again. Pittsburgh can come out of this with very good field position as 2nd down and 20 comes up. Ron Johnson comes up to make the tackle on Cribbs.
When you're dominating the way Buffalo has been dominating, you like to keep the pressure on. We see Joe Devlin pulls in front of Cribbs. He gets tangled up. Just a whole bunch of Steelers in Cribbs' way. I think it's 2nd down now and about 18 yards to go for a first. Now, this is where Ferguson ought to just let it go. Just let it go. Take your licks. See what Cribbs can make. It's an important game. You don't want to blow it by trying to be a hero at this point.
And as you saw the standings, John, interesting developments with Miami losing and Pittsburgh losing here. Joe Cribbs runs the ball on 2nd and 20, and the Steelers again give up virtually nothing. So they're going to have to wait till January 2nd, late in the afternoon, to find out who's where. No sure things yet. San Diego extended its record to 4-2 with another win yesterday, beating the 49ers coming from behind.
What you do see is you see that anybody that has only 2 wins after 6 games is in deep hurt if you're in the AFC. If you're in the NFC, you have a good chance because, as people have said, you might need 6 and something. You won't need that. 5 and 4 will get you in the AFC. 4 and 5 might make it in the NFC.
They think that a lot of 5 and 4s could get in, but maybe some won't with the tiebreakers.
You bet me.
You think all the 5 and 4s will be there? Joe Ferguson does a smart thing. He throws the ball away. Steeler fans thought he grounded the ball.
In row 6. Take a look at the NFC. You can see that Dallas, they're in. Green Bay's in. Washington's already in. You've got Atlanta 3-2, New Orleans 3-2. You've got a couple other teams. You've even got a 2-3 team in the hunt right now.
Well, look at Detroit. They're 2-3, but they're pounding the Packers 30-0 at the moment.
That's right. And that's what keeps it all nice and even over there in the NFC. Dallas will run away and hide for us over.
Now, Greg Cato will punt the ball for Buffalo. He has to hit the ball into a wind. A swirling wind. Gets it downfield, and Willie Sidnor is going to let it hop. And it takes a roll and will hop out of bounds at about the 43-yard line of the Bills. So finally, Pittsburgh gets offense on the Buffalo side of the 50. Cliff Stout brings the Steelers out. It's absolutely impossible to assess the wind. You look at that banner up top, the wind indicator atop one of the goalposts, and at the other end it might be blowing the other way. The flag has been straight out one way, and then you look back up and it's straight out the other.
Isn't it funny? Since they took the 3 points, they kicked off to Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh's got the ball on the other side of the 50. 2 touchdowns away from winning, but we're not even in the 4th quarter yet.
We are not. We have 1:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. And it's 1st and 10 for the Steelers. Stout takes a look into the flat. It'll be second down and 10.
Nice spiral, but you needed a little taller receiver.
They don't help unless it comes down in the right guy's hands. Scout, as we saw earlier, can air it out and throw the long ball. The Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line has to give him time because the Steelers are going to have to put the ball in the air to get in the end zone. Swan comes out wide to the right.
Here's a blitz.
The blitz is coming. Irvin Parker. There's a throw, and nicely received by John Stallworth. But they're rolling out of bounds. Had the ball, but wasn't in bounds with the feet, so it comes back now, and it'll be third down and 10.
Either he didn't give himself quite enough room or Stout pulled him out to the outside. We couldn't tell exactly which, but that's the way it's been going since step one.
9 previous tries, John. The Steelers have tried to convert a third down, and they've come up empty every time. 0 for 9 on third down conversions. Now it goes with Swan wide right. Jim Smith wide right. Stallworth wide left. Stout taking a look. Pump faking. Now he's going to take off. Puts his head down, and he is hit hard at the 35-yard line, short of the first down.
Big play, though. Stout knows how many yards he has to pick up. Even though he didn't get to the first down line, he got 9 or a little 9+. They'll go for it on 4th and 1. Let's take a look at Fred Smerlas. He's having quite a little day with Mike Webster. Mike's starting to hold him out a little bit better now in the latter stages of the game, and I'll be very, very surprised if they do anything but go for the first down. First chance they've had to do anything right today. Good play by Stout.
Fourth down and just over a yard now for Pittsburgh at the 34-yard line of Buffalo. Sid Thornton and Russell Davis are the runners. Russell Davis looks like he's got it for the Steelers. First down Pittsburgh as they advance the ball close to the Buffalo 32-yard line. Here comes Franco and the wide receivers back in. Stallworth and Swan.
Remember, Pittsburgh's got a lot of plays that they've worked on during practice to execute once they got inside the 30 to 25-yard line of Buffalo. Well, they haven't used any of them because they haven't been there.
Right. They have not been there. This is the Steelers' longest advance of this game, and third quarter's about to end, and it does. The gun sounds. That is the end of the third quarter with a score. The Buffalo Bills 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers nothing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Back at Buffalo, they love it because the Bills are playing their first good game in a long time, certainly their first one since the strike. And the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't out of it yet, though, as the Steelers go on offense first and 10. And Franco runs hard, crosses the cross, and he gets a head down inside the 25-yard line. And now, with Stout at quarterback, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been moving the ball, but they've yet to put points up.
They've got their head up, though. That's a step in the right direction. You can just get the feeling that when they step in the huddle, they're running out there with a little more spring. Their offensive line's jumping up to the line of scrimmage a little swifter. They're not letting Buffalo get set defensively. Hey, let's go. Let's get the game on.
Second and 2, as you see the flurries falling. Hawthorne takes some hard pops, but he gets ahead and gets a Steeler first down to the 20. Ben Williams, who sacked Bradshaw unceremoniously, one of 4 first-half sacks of Bradshaw, but the man who made the knockdown. Now the play comes in as Jim Smith heads into the lineup on a first down play for Pittsburgh.
Somebody turned the snow on again.
Yeah.
And they've also said okay to get back in the game, are they?
Your visit might not end with today.
Yeah, we'll put a little snow on them, blow the wind about 40 miles an hour. Let's see how they're doing this.
And guys who come here for games, John, have been here till Wednesday.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Here it is now. First down and 10. Back to Franco Harris. Good run by Harris, and Franco's inside the 10-yard line. They'll rule him out of bounds right at the 10. A lot of time left. 13:38 to play in the game.
They've got 2 real big ball carriers. This is Greg Hawthorne, #1 choice out of Baylor a few years ago. Hadn't got a lot of time to play, but he makes a good block at the point of attack. Defensive end, keeps him out of the play, allows Franco to break loose into the secondary. He's done that 4 or 5 times in this drive. Don't give Franco the ball with a way to go or you're in trouble.
So far in this game, John Stallworth has not caught a pass, nor has Lynn Swann, nor has Benny Cunningham, the other starting receiver. Stallworth's streak of receptions in 68 straight games on the line. Stout throws. Almost intercepted. Mario Clark, number 29, cutting in front of Lynn Swann in the end zone, knocking the ball down, and so it's going to be third down coming up.
And that's why Lynn Swann has not had any receptions today. Mario Clark has covered him just like a shadow. On the other side, Charles Romes has done the same thing to Stallworth. These two cornerbacks are outstanding players, have been for several years. And that's why they feel like they match up pretty good against Pittsburgh. And they play a lot of man-to-man, and these two guys can get it done.
Steelers trying to cross Buffalo up, as that was a second down and inches play after the good run by Franco Harris. And now the Steelers and Cliff Stout want to talk it over. Pittsburgh calls timeout. 13:33 left to play. 13-0 Buffalo, but the Steelers challenging and not wanting to let the opportunity get away. Stout heads to the sidelines to consult with Chuck Noll. Marv made the knockdown, but Cliff Stout in third and inches called number 18 in the huddle and took it himself.
And he doesn't run like a quarterback. He runs like a big old long halfback. He's got good long strides. He has the coordination of a running back. I knew he could throw a little bit. I didn't know about his running ability. Not too many people have seen him.
Mark Malone, the other Steeler quarterback, troubled with an injury. It's interesting, Bradshaw at 6'3", 215 is the smallest Steeler quarterback. Stout throws, and a sure touchdown is dropped. And by a guy who rarely drops anything, John Stallworth.
I mean, Stout just stood there and completely let the play develop until Stallworth came open about 4 seconds after the ball snapped. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. He still got it. Almost a 5-second play. Stallworth runs on a delay to the outside and drops a sure touchdown. That's the tough part's getting time to throw it.
They just announced the final score from New England. Patriots 3, Miami Dolphins nothing. That got a big rousing cheer here.
Not from any of the guys that took the overs.
One field goal is the difference. Franco runs, and he's down to the 4-yard line on 2nd and goal from the 7. Franco Harris, the greatest playoff runner in pro football history and the 3rd leading all-time rusher. Still doing it, having a big year again.
All right, normally this is a certain throwing down, okay? But because on 4th down, I'm sure they won't try and kick a field goal. They would try and make a touchdown. It's an either-or job. Miami loss kind of sets up a must-win for them when they play the Jets next week down in Miami.
There's going to be a few 4 and 2s among some people who thought they'd be 5 and 1s. There's a rush. It's a ball. It's intercepted by Ben Williams. Ben Williams, the defensive end, spins off tacklers and gets it out to the 25-yard line.
So often in a city, Buffalo's had their fortunes turned into mud, and you know they're a good team that has always come up just a little bit short. This is when the table is reversed. Ben Williams comes up with a big play just when it looks like they're going to let Pittsburgh to within a touchdown on a day when they've totally dominated play. Their defense comes up with a big play. Now, Joe, just hand the ball off to Cribbs and let this thing get on.
Bill Simpson, a big part of that interception. He tipped the throw by Stout, and Ben Williams picked it off. Now they do go to the run. Roosevelt Leaks runs the ball. The quarterbacks for the Pittsburgh, statistics for the Pittsburgh quarterbacks, most remarkable. Together, Bradshaw and Stout have thrown the ball 19 times. They've completed 2 for a total of 3 yards passing. Stout is 0 for 6.
I think they've thrown 3 to the other group.
Yeah, they have. The Bills have received well. And Ferguson has been intercepted twice, both by Dwayne Woodruff of the Steelers. Both times stopping scoring threats down close. But the Bills hold to a 13-0 lead, as you see. It's 2nd and 5 coming up for Buffalo. Will they go right back to the run? They do. Roosevelt Leaks eases ahead for a couple of yards out to the 33. 3rd and 2. John Goodman knocked him down. Bills at Tampa Bay next Sunday. Many of you will see that as part of an NBC doubleheader, a second game. The Steelers head to Cleveland. Right now, the Browns are right back in the game at Cincinnati after trailing 14-0. Cleveland down 14-10 in the fourth quarter. Game clock winding down. 10:48 to play. Steeler defense digs in, trying to get the ball back. Now the Jets are ripping up Tampa Bay. The Jets have opened up a 29-10 lead. Joe Cribbs with a lot of people in front. Look at that blocking. Joe Cribbs gets ahead for a first down and skips down the sideline. A first down for Buffalo, and Joe Cribbs running for 12.
I get the feeling that John Borchardt, Reggie McKenzie, that these two guys are standing in the huddle and they're saying, just hand the ball to Cribbs, please. We'll make sure he picks up the first down. They've done it time and time again. In the second half, they are really dominating the line of scrimmage.
132 yards now, John, for Joe Cribbs.
They ought to give a good segment of that to each one of those offensive linemen, because those guys are doing some playing.
They really have. Joe Devlin, 7th-year tackle out of Iowa on one side. Ken Jones, a 7th-year tackle from Arkansas State on the other. Reggie McKenzie, the main man in the O.J. Simpson years at left guard. John Borchardt, 4th year from Montana, is the right guard. Will Grant, the center. The Bills looking to run that clock with a 13-0 lead and 10:22 showing. Go to the run again on first down and advance the ball to the 46-yard line. But a hold is signaled by Pat Haggerty, the referee. Jack Ham and Lauren Traves with the tackle for the Steelers. Cliff Stout on the bench. 0 for 6 since relieving Terry Bradshaw. The starter didn't throw strikes. They went to the bullpen. He didn't either.
But he did have him moving. That was the only mistake he
ran
really made. He had him moving. He had them running the ball well, and everybody kind of picked it up a little. And the one turnover, I think, kind of busted their bubble.
Now the Bills in a hole with 1st and 20 coming up. Look at these offensive totals, John.
Yep. The points are the only important ones, but they've 3-to-1 them on offensive yardage.
Funny how the points follow the offensive totals, though. 304 yards for Buffalo, 81 for Pittsburgh. 3 passing.
Easy 5.
Joe Cribbs goes down at the 33-yard line and to make it 2nd and 20, accepting the flag. We have to see what they are.
It'll be 1st and 15 because a good quarterback knows to change his cadence on occasion. He caught him. So kind of easy. We should be able to see somebody moving just a little bit quick.
John
we do.
Goodman, the big end from Oklahoma.
John Goodman gets there quick.
Defense.
Just got to wait till they snap it.
So the ball is now positioned at the 39-yard line. The 39-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. They come out 1st and 10. Perry Tuttle goes wide to the left. The wide receiver from Clemson. Wide to the right is Luca Cohen. 1st and 15. The Bills take it to the run and power the ball ahead. Not for much. Out to the 43. The Bills, against a team that had given up virtually no yards to the run, the Green Bay Packers, ran for 142 yards last week, but couldn't get in the end zone until it was too late. Too many turnovers. 5.
Here's a man we have seen very little of today, Donnie Shell. He knows they're going to try and run the ball. Jump up in the pack, see if you can't help out one of your linebackers or linemen. Donnie's specialty is getting to the quarterback on safety blitzes when the situation dictates. He's an excellent center fielder. Yes, they haven't called his number often today.
Remarkable player. One of the few who's come into the league as a free agent and ended up a first-team All-Pro. Twice he's been one. Donnie Shell out of South Carolina State. Cribbs puts both hands on the ball on 2nd down and 10 and gets ahead for a little over a yard, maybe 2, out to the 45-yard line. The heated bench is getting a big play on the Pittsburgh side of the field as you see the Jets now in command of Tampa Bay. The Jets looking to extend their record to 5-1. Minnesota, another Dan Meyer field goal, has fought hard to come back and take a lead over Baltimore. Colts led in the game 10-7. Green Bay, a cropper today at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. That famous football address, and the New England Patriots in the snow and the cold of Foxborough, Mass. doing the Miami Dolphins. Washington leading the Cardinals 12-7. Skins scoring on 4 Mark Mosley field goals. 3rd and 9 Buffalo. Swing pass. Kramer, the tight end, has it, but the Steelers are there to stop him. He gets out of bounds. That's what he wanted to do as the clock stops with 8:27 to go.
The little things. Buffalo does the little things to keep them from being one of the teams that's looked upon as being great. They run out of bounds with 8.5 minutes to go with a 13-point lead. Now, Mark ought to know, and he ought to be told if he doesn't, you don't do that. We play the clock. When the clock becomes an issue, use it. But you should know that. And I'm sure he'll be reminded by Kay Stevenson, but that's the sort of thing that they do when it looks like they're on the verge of being great.
The whole Buffalo team very much up for this game. The coaches next to us, the Bills, usually very outwardly complacent, all on their feet throughout the game. The people calling it in the play box: Jack Donaldson, Miller McCammon, Ralph Hawkins. Willie Sidnor gets the punt, a 36-yarder, and the Steelers go back on offense with a lot of ground to make up if they're to get in the end zone. And the Steelers have to be thinking about they're on the verge of being shut out for the 2nd time in the last 3 weeks. Nixon, a good extra defensive back for the Buffalo Bills, just came off. Apparently hurt his left knee. Here we are, John Broads up here in the press box, checking it all out.
And watching Jeff go down on the play, he really just got pushed a little bit, and it wasn't a hit or anything. I don't know what happened. But neither does Pittsburgh.
Neither does Pittsburgh know it hit him from the defensive side as Buffalo again comes shooting. Sherman White and Chris Keating. Keating had to move in for Jim Haslett, the big linebacker out of Indiana State in Pennsylvania. Jeff Nixon was one of the great defensive backs in the league 2 years ago, and he intercepted 5 passes in the first 4 games. Went down with a knee injury.
Well, as it says, it's only his 4th year, and he's been a couple years inactive. He didn't get to play much when he came in. Then in about 5 games, he intercepted about 9 or 10 balls, and didn't take people long to notice.
Bills picked up Lamar Parrish from the Redskins as the extra man, and now the 49 men on the roster. It looks like people are going to need them all before it's over. Stout had Benny Cunningham open, but the big rush came on Cliff Stout, and Ben Williams putting the heat on Stout. And right now we remind you that this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited.
Hey, that's another one. Cunningham looked, he threw the ball behind him. It's been a tough day condition-wise, but Cunningham usually just takes those in stride.
Stout lets it go long. He's got Lynn Swan making a sliding reception at the 37-yard line of the Steelers. Now there's a smoke bomb that's going off in the stands.
I wonder if it's a warm one.
It's got some people scattering. 19-yard gain to Swan, his first catch of the day.
All right, Stout jumps underneath, gets good protection up front from Mike Webster. The 2 guards are starting to block. They're starting to get good pass protection up front. It allows their quarterback to step up. He's going to have to get a lot more opportunity to do that.
Again, a genius in action in the stands, throwing that thing. Stout on first down, stands in, but not for long. And now he throws a strike, and again it's to Lynn Swan, who's open over the middle. And the Steelers have the ball out to the Pittsburgh 46-yard line.
And they have not thrown in the towel.
No, sir.
6:30 to go in the game. They've got their 2 touchdowns back. If anybody saw that little debacle on the West Coast yesterday. Here's Lynn Swan coming back for a pattern. That little Hummer, they had 78 points scored. I don't know what we've got over there in the end zone, but it can't be. It's got a lot of people scattering. Holy moly.
Unbelievable. The camera right end zone is a story.
All right.
Stout stands in to throw, and down he goes as he's sacked. Apparently it's gone out now. There's a smoke bomb that had everybody. People started to jump over the wall, and they're holding handkerchiefs in front of their noses trying to breathe through it all. Steve Freeman is on the play for Buffalo.
Oh my, and Buffalo has another man down.
I think I heard a dog. Steve Freeman is down. And so, while there's a break in the action, With 5:59 left to play, Steve Freeman's attended to, and we take this timeout for a message. Lynn Swan goes out wide right. Third down and 9 for Pittsburgh. Steelers still not off the schneid on the scoreboard, trailing 13-0. Stout guns the ball long, and it's overthrown. Denny Cunningham turning out on it. Rod Cush was covering. Steve Freeman, who was injured before we broke away, was up and all right. He walked off the field.
This is where Pittsburgh's going to punt the ball. I think on fourth down I would have a go at it right here. 5 minutes and 36 seconds to go. They need 2 touchdowns. It would be 4th down and 9 on their own 39. They're going to lose if they punt it anyway. But there again, we all do have our own thoughts, don't we?
That's why they play the game, and right now the Steelers have their barefoot punter out, John Goodson. Kicks one downfield. Coming up on the ball is Robert Holt. Eludes one tackler for the moment, then the Steelers get him. And so the Bills go back on offense with 5:23 left to play, and the Bills, who led 10-0 at halftime, now have a 13-0 lead. 3 points has been the sum total of scoring in the second half for both teams. NBC doubleheader day coming up next. The Raiders and the Chiefs at Kansas City, or the Broncos and the Rams at Anaheim. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's next on NBC Sports.
Noticing Raiders in Kansas City sitting there, and Oakland's just been asked to come back to Oakland by some judge up in the East Bay. I get the feeling that they don't know where to go.
Well, they practice in Oakland still.
I know.
They fly down to Anaheim for an away game that they call a home game.
Sure is messed up.
Nobody's been showing up. The great line we've heard was before the San Diego Chargers played the Oakland Raiders, or the LA Raiders now, at Anaheim. Gene Klein, the San Diego owner, was down on the sidelines talking to Dan Fouts, the San Diego quarterback, and there was about 3,000 people in the stands. There was a late arriving crowd, and when it did arrive, it was about 40,000 empty seats. Fouts said to Gene Klein, he said, I wouldn't want 55% of this gross. Second down and 6 for Buffalo. Clock running, 4:45 to play. Ferguson wisely throws it close to row A. People were covered, and Joe Ferguson not wanting to allow the Steeler secondary a chance on the ball. They had the defense well deployed and covering well, and now at 4:36 to go in the game, it's going to be 3rd down and 6 for Buffalo.
I've seen a lot of things today that surprised me a bit, Don. You got 4.5 minutes to play. They're winning the ball game. They've got Pittsburgh down. Now the only thing that could change the outcome of this game if somehow Pittsburgh got its head up, and that could only take place with a turnover or something silly. I think that to throw the ball right now when you don't need to is something that Ferguson has been the effect of over the years, and I don't see where it's necessary.
He's in the shotgun on 3rd and 6, and he's going to put it up. Here comes the blitz. Robin Cole throws, and there's a strike to Perry Tuttle, and he's out to the 45-yard line for a big gainer and a 1st down. 16-yard gain and a 1st down for the Bills.
Okie dokie.
They keep the clock running.
Well executed play. Whether it's well executed or not, I think now that they've got a 1st down, and I think so before they got it, they better get it on the ground.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, buoyant and optimistic after the big win over Kansas City a week ago at 3 Rivers. Now a team with some questions. On the verge of being shut out for the 2nd time in the last 3 weeks. You'll recall they lost 16-0 at Seattle when Bradshaw went down with a shoulder injury. Bradshaw came back last week, threw for 3 scores. Today, Bradshaw did nothing, nor did the overall Steeler offense. And the Bills right now are leading 13-0 with 3:40 to go. And it virtually decided because the Bills have the ball. 2nd down coming up with the clock running down to 3:30. John Gooden was on the tackle of Roosevelt Leaks. See that? The Steelers have not been shut out twice in the same season since 1951. Cliff Stout will be coming back in. But like Bradshaw, who he succeeded today, Bradshaw is ineffective. Nothing going with the offensive passing game for Pittsburgh. Terry Tuttle's shown some stuff for Buffalo. Their #1 draft choice, called down because of a couple of injuries. Got some big balls. Now 2nd down and 7, Buffalo. Leaks, runs, crashes, and gets across the 45-yard line of Pittsburgh and down to the 43. He has a 1st down for Buffalo. So all of a sudden, the Bills, who a lot of people were questioning and wondering if they were indeed a playoff team this year.
13 with the ball. You can take a look. We discussed earlier, you know, it'd be good to see Ferguson win a ball game with Buffalo and not really play great. I think that's happened today. I don't think he's been the reason they won. I think their offensive and defensive lines have been the reason, and the running of Joe Cribbs has controlled the line of scrimmage. And I think that'll be real good for Buffalo coming down toward the playoffs. And I think with 4 wins, you can safely assume that they'll be in it.
Terry Bradshaw with a warm seat and a bad day. And now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. With 2 minutes to play, holding to a 13-0 lead over the favorite Steelers coming in. Right now, Buffalo has 2nd down and 9 coming up from the Pittsburgh 43. Leaks fumbles the ball. Free ball. It looks like Pittsburgh might have it. They'll wait for them to unpile. Gary Dunn down the bound. Bills say they have it, and the Steelers say they have. So we're going to have an official decision.
I think there is one. I think the Steelers have it.
1:54 to go.
Don't want to lick your paws too early in this game. Little problem on a handoff. Looked like gold pants got underneath the pile.
Let's wait and we'll get the signal from referee Pat Haggerty. It's a penalty mark. There was a marker down amidst all that free footballs too, and the walk-off is against the Steelers. It's been kind of a day.
Holding, 1st down.
Nullifies the old turnover.
Nullifies the fumble and the turnover, and a defensive hold, an automatic 1st down for the Bills, and the ball is moved ahead to the 38-yard line of Pittsburgh. The coordinating producer of NFL football on NBC is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by Kenneth Edmondson, directed by Richard Klein, technical director Larry Stucker, associate director Mike Eilbaum. Our thanks to NBC statistician Steve Dans for his usual excellent work, and also for support in the booth from Larry Pollock, Gary Heller, Larry Gluck, and Ed Dorada. A terrible towel is being burned.
It doesn't look like a towel.
A very hot hat.
Looks like the bottom of a bathing suit or something like that.
Whatever it is, it's highly flammable. They had the smoke bomb over there earlier, and that cleared out some people, sent some folks to home or wherever early. National Football League rules require that we present away games starting with the opening kickoff to the stations in the team's home area. So viewers in the Denver area will be leaving this game in a few minutes for a telecast involving the Broncos. However, we'll continue to bring you reports on this game to keep you up to date. Right now, with 1:54 to play, the Pittsburgh Steelers put their defense down and ready as the Bills have the ball, 2nd down and 4. Down to the 35-yard line. The Bills content to run the ball. Pittsburgh Steelers with their complement of 2 timeouts remaining. Stout used one, you remember, when they were down close before the interception. Gary Dunn and Lauren Tays were on the tackle for Pittsburgh. The Steelers will be favored in all probability in all 3 of their remaining games, but so too are they favored here today coming into Buffalo over a Bills team that had not put on a good show since the strike ended. Losing to Miami, beating hapless Baltimore, and then losing at Milwaukee to Green Bay last Sunday. The Steelers head to Cleveland next week, and then they go home to play New England and Cleveland. Hopefully for the Steelers, they'll be on to the playoffs, and the Bills much better playoff position now as they go to 4-2 with a win here today. And Joe Cribbs, who's been much of the offense all day, called on to carry again. He advances the ball inside the 35-yard line.
And we're inside the 1-minute mark. We have not seen Pittsburgh take their timeout, so they must assume that the case is closed.
The case is closed, and The Pittsburgh Steelers head back now, having been shut out twice in the last 3 weeks. 2 shutouts in a Steelers season for the first time in 31 years. Final score, Cincinnati moves away on some breach field goals, 3 of them late in the game. Beats Cleveland 23-10.
And Washington beats St. Louis 12-7, Donnie.
Redskins extend their record to 5-1. Buffalo Bills, as the wind blows and the snow starts up again, saluting a victory well earned. A great defensive effort, an overall team effort when you beat a team the caliber of the Steelers by a nothing score. 13 love as the clock ticks down to 24 seconds to go, and the numbers keep changing on the updated roster and the scoreboard standing. The lineup shows now Pittsburgh and Miami both going to 4-2. Losing in cold weather games, the Dolphins beaten 3-0 in New England.
That's 7 teams with 4 wins. That's what is impressive.
It is over. They're standing and saluting the Buffalo Bills, who finally played their first important game since the strike and won the big game with the big effort. Final score, Buffalo 13, Pittsburgh nothing. We'll be back at Rich Stadium right after this. Now let's go to NFL 82 in New York and Len Berman. Len?
This is Len Berman in New York. There's our star of the day in the National Football League. His name is Mark Henderson on a tractor in Foxborough. All he did was come out onto the field during a timeout, clean a little space for the Patriots kicker John Smith. Smith used the clean space on the snowy field, kicked the winning field goal to beat the 4-1 Dolphins. Henderson's the hero. Dolphins protested, but nothing could be done. I guess the play was legal. The man cleared the field. All right, let me give you all the scores right now as we have them. Buffalo over Pittsburgh. That's the game you're watching. As you know, Buffalo just shut down Terry Bradshaw cold. Washington, 4 Mosley field goals. Mosley has now kicked 18 straight in his career, or well, at least this year, at least, and into last year. And, of course, that is 2 short of Gary Yepremian's 20 record. Cincinnati over Cleveland. That's a final now. Cincinnati is 5-1. That virtually assures them a spot in the playoffs. The Jets, just about in the playoffs as well. They're up on Tampa Bay, 32-17 fourth quarter. Minnesota trying to hang on to beat Baltimore. They lead it 13-10. Baltimore's hanging tough. Detroit looks good against Green Bay. Green Bay's first game in Green Bay this year. They could drop to 4-2. And the Patriots beat New England in the snow 3-0, thanks to Mark Henderson and his tractor. Now, many of you will be seeing the second game of our NBC doubleheader today. The Raiders at Kansas City, Denver at the Rams. I'm Len Berman. Thanks for watching. Those games coming up after these words from your local station.